Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Please be seated. Just before I call the meeting to order, I trust everyone's taken a moment to read our acknowledgement to our friends and neighbors in the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam Nation. And just on that note, I would like to tell you that this past week, you may know that the Navijack House, which is the first original home on the waterfront of our community, there was a blessing ceremony, a brushing ceremony with the Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh families who their ancestors lived in that home. And they honored me with the opportunity to be a witness to the event. And it was really a wonderful, wonderful event. And it's going to be a wonderful facility when it's rebuilt and pay respects to our Indigenous communities. And along the same waterfront, I trust you all have seen that the final home has come down on Argyle, and what an incredible achievement it is for our community. That program of acquiring those homes started in 1975 by a council sitting at this table. And I think how remarkable it is that over 50 years that all of the people that have sat at this table, or at least the majority of them, supported that acquisition program, and how truly, truly beautiful it is. And on August 2nd, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, as part of the Harmony Arts Festival, we're inviting representatives who have been involved, former. There's still one member of council from the original 1975 council, Bob Wickham, who will be there and will say a few words. And the ancestors of Mayor Peter Jones, who was the mayor when this program started, and other people, and some of our senior staff members who helped in this process. And of course, our current staff will be there to help us celebrate. We'll kind of do a ceremonial ribbon cutting and just go, well done. It's very beautiful. And one other item, there's been a lot of concern expressed over the removal of the median in Dunderab, or at least part of it. And council is also very concerned, and a few things. We must set this record straight. There was some earlier talk that it would be taken out and a left-hand turn lane would be put back in. That is absolutely not going to happen. The work that's underway right now is to put in a storm sewer line, and then hydro must go back. The hydro lines have to go in a sewer, and water piping goes in. And there was a suggestion that this work won't be completed until 2028, and that's not acceptable to this council. So we will be ensuring that this work is completed at the earliest possible opportunity. And we're looking at installing some temporary landscaping, just so people understand this is coming back, and the historical nature. And I've got to be honest with you, it means the world to me, because it was actually my father who put the median down in there a million years ago. And a little fun fact you might not know, when they put it in, he said, we're going to leave gaps in the flower beds to encourage people to jaywalk, and that'll slow traffic down. So thanks, Dad. So with those pieces of information, I would like to ask Councillor Lambert to approve the agenda for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Sager. I recommend that the July 21st, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Question, all in favor? Contrary, carried. And now we have a delegation from a very fun group, I suspect, the North Shore Disc Golf Association. Gentlemen. Oh, you're going to get applause. A good way to start a presentation.
Thank you, Your Worship, councillors, members of the council chambers. We appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to you tonight. about having fun on the North Shore, the future of fun on the North Shore.
There were a lot of people having fun at the new batch down at the pop-up, by the way. If you haven't been down, you should try it.
So we're asking what council can do. Are we good? Oh, sharing. Sorry, Pascal says she always has. This is 40 years in IT. I still need help.
Just because you can see it. doesn't mean you can.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Thanks. Thank you,
That's what's good
Pascal.
for you.
Again, rescued by IT.
I just want to full screen this for you here for you.
There you
In
go.
the picture, who's the champion?
Sorry, in the future.
I'm just wondering who the champion is of this group of disc golfers.
Oh, it's definitely the kids down on the front there.
Yeah. And with me tonight, during the presentation is Athol Christie. He is the president of our association. We're a registered society with BC Societies. And Richard Howard, who is with us as well as the director of the North Shore Disc Golf Association.
Thank you.
What can council do to engage generations of old and young folks, engage all abilities in a fun sport, and engage emotional and get emotional and physical benefits while keeping our environment pristine and natural? A new and exciting addition to local recreational offerings that spans the spectrum of ages and abilities. A community offering that brings families and friends together in a social setting in the beautiful outdoors. It's forest bathing. It's playing the first sport that I played with my kids and also my grandchild. I've coached many sports. I've coached baseball for several years. I've coached soccer for 4 years. I've coached basketball. I didn't play those sports with my kids, but I played this sport with my grandson, my son, and myself, my wife. And it was a wonderful day out on the course. And you'll see, if you visit our webpage, you'll see many families out playing disc golf, Father's Day, most days of the year, over at Eastview or sometimes over at Rockridge. But the sport's on simmer in the North Shore. It's increasing in profile worldwide. It's played similarly to golfing rules. You get the disc to a basket and as few throws as possible. And folks show up and play in this accessible and affordable sport. Very little equipment is required, a disc basically. And it's played in public parks all over the world and locally throughout Metro. We often play at Kilchina. We play at QE Park, a lovely park there, 18-hole course, a mix of people and pedestrians and all sorts of things. That course has been in existence for a while. We also play some of the bigger courses. We have to drive to Squamish for 18 holes, or we have to go out to Langley, where we have a championship course where we put the BC Open at this year. And not we, the association, put it there, but the BC Disc Golf Association put it there. And it's a wonderful course out there too. But again, it's a long way down the highway, and it's a long way down the other highway to get to these 18-hole courses. We need a disc golf course that's fun and healthy and accessible and low cost. We need the district to help make it happen. And of course, we're willing and would be so gratified by having a place where we can temporarily set up, see how it goes. Very low barrier in terms of cost. Our association has been fundraising. We're willing to help and pitch in. We can volunteer to manpower. We did that at Rockridge, and we added 3 baskets that were donated by our sister club up in Squamish. And we worked with the school, the phys ed instructor, the principal, and the school board to get that improvement to that course in, and it's been fairly well received. We're growing our membership. We have over 200 members now. We've been basically doing membership drive for about a year. We certainly see the sport is growing in profile, and the courses are being well used on the North Shore, the 2 that are there. They're very elementary or easy level courses. They're not very long, and they do tend to be fairly you reach the limit of your ability fairly quickly in terms of being able to score a hole in one, for example. I've done a couple. I played ball golf for 10 years, and instructors, green fees, thousands of dollars in clubs. And I never got close to a hole in one ever, but I've got two at disc golf. So it's quite a thrill. It's just as thrilling as golf. I can tell you that. People jump, even the people in the audience, they jump up and down. When it happens, it's pretty exciting. We need this vibrant and inclusive activity on the North Shore. We're asking council just to help us in any way that you can develop the sport and support a course. We're offering our collaboration to grow disc golf in the district and all across the North Shore. We presented to the city 3 years ago. They're going to improve Eastview by putting back some baskets. We approached the district a year ago. They are very positive, and they put it on the agenda to bring it up with the Rec Commission and to bring it up with Parks. And now we're presenting to you a year later. So we are tenacious, and we are driving on this to help get the sport the place it deserves on the North Shore. The North Shore is a great place for this sport because it has such a surplus, not a surplus, a surfeit of outdoor places where this sport could be played. And we are fundraising.
Do you give us some idea of what it would look like, where it could best, what kind of environment you best need for it?
Well, it works well. For example, I'm going to talk now about the district having large green spaces, but other municipalities have successful courses in Central Park, for example. Just this past year, last winter, they took their pitch and putt. They put in these temporary baskets throughout 18 holes. It is a beautiful course. In the first week that had that open at $6.50 a player, they had the sixth highest number of players in the world play that course on any course in the world. So it was amazing to see the success of that program in Central Park. And now I think they've opened up that for one night a week, even throughout the summer. So it was a huge success for them. So it's a park. That one's a park, but the location is anywhere where you can get a clear shot. Doesn't have to be, it can be in the woods, but I don't, have any preferences to where. I'm just interested in making sure the sport can grow with a decent sized course. Our expansion at Rockridge happened last year, and we had help from Squamish, as I mentioned, but there's still a demand for an 18-hole course. And we hope council agrees to explore this vision with the North Shore Disc Golf Association. So let's have fun together. And I say that in inviting all of you, any of you, and all of you to come out and play a game with us at Rockridge or Eastview. I'm sure you'll have some fun and some questions in a very comfortable and social environment. Finland was voted the happiest place on earth for the last 7 years in a row. And Finland has the highest number of disc golf courses per capita.
Must be that.
It's got to be the disc golf. It's got to be the disc golf. Please vote yes to fun, and with your wisdom and your courage, I'm sure it can happen.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. And I should tell you, I have tried it. I played up at Whistler, and it's great fun. I completely agree.
Very tough course.
Yeah, that one's a tough course. Councillor Snyder. Sorry, Councillor Thompson, do you have a?
I did have a couple questions. I actually was just speaking with my adult children who came back from Kelowna having played it, and they were raving about it. So you have me intrigued. So first of all, when you say Central Park, is that Burnaby or New York?
Burnaby.
Okay.
Yes,
And then, of course, my mind immediately went to our pitch and putt, but do you have any idea of the wear and tear on a golf course?
Well,
with
they
that
did net the greens.
Pardon me?
They did net the greens, so the greens were netted.
You don't walk on the green.
And the greens were always out of bounds.
Oh, okay.
So disc golfers are very good about, being careful in that regard. I'll say 99% of them. All of them.
Thanks for qualifying.
Okay.
There
a mature group.
There are a number of ball golf courses that have been not necessarily converted, but shared with disc golf.
Yeah.
There's one on the Sunshine Coast, there's one on Vancouver Island, Central Park's the newest one. It's a fairly common way to
Convert.
introduce the sport when you don't necessarily have a land set up for it.
Yeah.
And as Toby said, yeah, the baskets are typically placed away from greens. And in the case of the Sunshine Coast, they actually share tee boxes with the ball golfers, and even tee times. You can alternate disc golf and ball golf at the same time. Sort of having different sides of the fairways. The disc golfers may shoot off into the trees where the ball golfers won't go.
Avoid.
Yeah, avoid, exactly, right. So there's certainly lots of ways to do it. That's a very popular
Wow.
popular way when maybe the longer term goal of finding a dedicated space is a little bit trickier.
Okay, and then I missed in your presentation, you talked about getting some nets. Are these portable nets?
Oh, get
Yeah.
some baskets.
Or sorry,
baskets.
baskets, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, we have access to, other associations that can help us with getting some baskets available, our fundraising as well. I'm not sure the total cost of 18 baskets, but something like
curious
that,
about
we
that.
could definitely work together.
I know the Burnaby cost was around $11,000 for the 18
For
baskets.
18 baskets.
Wow.
And they're portable and you bring them.
Some of them are portable. I mean, they could be as simple as driving a piece of pipe into the ground and then the basket slides into it as well. So one of them is mounted on the top of a stump, so, yeah.
Yeah, don't play that role.
Okay, okay.
That's really hard.
Thanks for the advice. Thanks. Love to join you sometime.
I think
Great.
you've got a lot of people at this table who would like to join in. Councillor Gambioli?
100%.
My question, I guess my question is, yeah, if we sort of agree that this is something to support, then you would be in touch with our Parks Department. Is that the preferred sort of thought with this sharing of the pitch and putt is an interesting idea. I think that is that what would happen?
I think we could refer this to our director, who's going to give us a thought on that.
Thank you. Yes, I know our staff have been in contact with members of the association, and we could certainly continue that. And whether it would be at the pitch and putt or looking for another location, we're happy to do that.
Well, there's certainly, a lot of value in the fact that you don't have to, well, it's essentially almost free. It's a very low cost, very low bar option. And as you say, sort of intergenerational play is fun. You're outdoors, it's active. And, I think that we should be, absolutely promoting that. And if we can use the same space that we already have maintained for more than one thing, especially a sport that's, like golf, which is more in the summer kind of, and offset it with this, then I don't see a downside. But
And all cognitive abilities, by the
right. All kinds of abilities, did you say?
way. Cognitive.
Cognitive abilities.
Right.
Golf
Okay.
was a little too complicated.
Right, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
My
Okay,
wife-
thanks.
my wife plays, and so we do have fun together.
And now we'll have a comment from our near pro golfer, Councillor Snyder.
It's not quite too. My question is, how long does it take to play an average 18-hole course?
A good player or me?
Well,
To
what
go
give us
around
what's a
Raptors,
range?
Yeah, Raptors, to go around Raptors 18 holes is a couple of hours for me. Now, a good player would probably scoot around because they don't throw as many discs, right? And a lot faster than that.
It really
What,
is.
what could you do in your ball?
Well, it depends. I mean, so Raptors Knoll is the golf course in Langley that's actually built on an old dump site, I believe.
Yeah.
And they just, so they actually have 3 different tee pads for each hole, sort of a beginner, intermediate, and expert. So again, depending on what level you are, it determines how far you're going to throw away from, and that also determines how long it's going to take you. So, yeah.
I can throw 200 feet, and a very good player can throw 500.
Really?
And those that I've seen play the sport, I had a nephew actually that played quite a bit when he was younger. You don't necessarily need a open space. I mean, well, I mean, like
Squash
within
is-
within the trees, a lot of the courses are set up
Squash is
within
Totally
the.
wooded.
trees, so you don't need a lot of preparation for the area to
No,
be
exactly.
used.
That's one of the nice things about the sport is every course is totally different. You'll have these wide open, like a ball golf course. I mean, they have them in the desert where there's nothing around necessarily, but it can be just through trees everywhere, and it has its own challenges, of course, right? And, yeah.
We love Squamish. It's such a challenge.
Perfect. Counselor Cassidy.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was good. I've never heard of the sport. So you have a pole in the ground with a basket on top. So how do these little children manage to get what looks like a frisbee up in the basket?
Oh,
To
no, it's
just,
not up, the basket's.
Oh, it's only there.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
high
yeah.
off the
oh,
ground.
all right.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Okay,
got chains. So it
Okay.
catches the disc.
great. All right.
And the disc just falls in the basket.
Okay, so you must have some idea in West Van where you would like to contemplate putting up your nothing?
Well, maybe you have any idea?
Thank you for the question. We have, yes, of course, there's parks and areas where we've looked at seeing like.
Could you give me an example or
Well, I
follow?
mean, at Ambleside, there's the pitch and putt there is one example. Where were we looking yesterday?
Glen Eagles and Hugo Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, I was going to mention Hugo Ray. Yes,
Yeah, I was
okay.
thinking of Hugo Ray too.
Yes, I'm wondering usage perhaps, and this is probably shouldn't be, Clewick even,
Yeah.
for some
I'm
semblance.
sure we're gonna
Yes.
find somewhere because I think you've got a lot of people at this table who think it'd be fun.
Yes,
so.
so Hugo Ray or Clewick, one is right beside a graveyard and
Well, we're nearly there. I'm nearly there.
and is on a dump, so
Oh, that's.
almost perfect here. So my ears, the minute I heard $6.50, my $6.50, my ears began to tingle. So this was a one-off that these individuals are paying this money to play at Central Park. This is, you don't pay each time you do the game,
Oh,
do you?
yeah.
No, it's
no,
per.
understand.
So this is going to be money back to the District of West Vancouver. You're looking more attractive by the minute.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was the nice thing about Burnaby, again, that was an income stream that they didn't
Right.
have through the winter.
okay,
And also it meant that they didn't have as many of the commando ball golfers sneaking onto the course.
right.
And kind of wrecking the greens and things during the winter as
Okay.
well, because there was sort of a steady traffic of disc golfers.
Okay, great. And who goes about collecting these money?
They have a clubhouse there, so they just,
No, I mean, should you be coming to West Van?
oh, West Van, that's another question. Well, that's a question for where we are. If it's at a ball golf facility, then
Okay.
there would be a clubhouse there.
Okay,
Most courses are free,
all right.
right? The paid courses are going to be on either a ball golf course, or in the United States, for example, they have more professional level courses where they actually have a clubhouse and people collecting green fees and that. kind of
Okay,
thing.
well, we have a clubhouse at Hugo Ray.
Well,
all
there you go.
right.
There you go.
Anyway, thank you very much for your
Thank you
presentation.
for your question.
Thank you.
As you can see, you've sparked some real interest around the table, and I'll ask Counselor Snyder to thank you for your presentation.
Yes, so I'd like to recommend that the delegation from the North Shore Disc Golf Association regarding the future of fun on the North Shore be received for information with thanks.
Thank you. And I'm sure we will be in touch.
Thank
I'll
you.
call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. We'll move to item number 4. Appeal of a denial of an encroachment permit for rocks on the boulevard at 2035 Russet. I'm wondering if there's the homeowner, I take it, is here. Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have some comments if I could introduce. Yeah,
Oh, of course, Mr. Bailey.
sure. So, recognizing we're going from fun to not fun on this one, but just, to give a bit of an update to council. So this isn't something that staff went and looked for. This was part of our routine final inspection for building permit in October 2024. And, staff, when they go out and they do these inspections, we make sure that we're in compliance with the bylaw. And, we noticed that the staff noticed that there were a number of large rocks, and you can see it in the staff report, placed about, 1 meter from the traveled surface of the road in contravention of the boulevard. We asked the homeowner to move them back to 2 meters. Those are the rules. They were developed, for a number of reasons, largely, for vehicle safety, to make sure that emergency vehicles could park on the boulevard if in the event of an emergency, and just, for relative aesthetics, and council had approved that bylaw. The owner subsequently applied for an encroachment permit to keep the rocks. It was denied, and now they're appealing to council, which they have the right to do to keep the rocks. The key contraventions are they're closer than 2 meters from the edge of the roadway. They pose a hazard to vehicles because the rocks can be difficult to see and could cause damage to a vehicle if struck. And they can obstruct emergency vehicles from using that part of the boulevard when responding to emergencies. So, we're recommending that you uphold the decision of the director and instruct the owner to move the rocks at least 2 meters from the road edge. And I do want to say, staff don't go out and look for these contraventions. We know that there are other contraventions in the district. We have limitations in terms of resources and staff. But again, this is part of a routine check on a final building inspection, and staff are duty bound to uphold your bylaws.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Yes, sir.
Well, I'll introduce myself. My name's Greg Coombs. This is Sylvia, my wife, and along with our 2 children, we're the residents at 2035 Russet Way, West Vancouver, the property that we discussed and the property that we have up on the first slide. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the mayor and the councillors for taking the time to hear our appeal of the denial of the encroachment permit for the rocks within 2 meters of the boulevard. I'm going to try to keep this discussion short because I appreciate your time is valuable. Please feel free to stop me at any point to ask questions or at the end. It's our first time here, so if we mess up a little bit, we're sorry.
Just do.
Photo 1, this is the property in discussion and the rocks in discussion. Note, the rocks are permitted, as we just heard, 2 meters back from the roadway. That is the line in red. So what we're asking is to have them 1 meter back, the yellow line, with reason. The reason for our encroachment request is to prevent damage to the boulevard grass. What happens is cars park off of the boulevard and they just roll off the edge. That rolling off the edge actually causes erosion, and then the water comes and it undermines the road, and we'll discuss that as we go forward. Photo 2 shows the reasons as stated. I think the right button. There we go. So shows the reasons for denial in red. So the denial was 6.5.1, and in brief, it states the encroachment cannot interfere with buried utilities or infrastructure. So we have 2 key reasons why the application would be denied, and my purpose here is to try to show the council and the mayor the interpretation that we see is different than what the inspector had saw. 6.5.2 states the encroachment cannot be a hazard to the vehicle using the highway, exactly what was discussed. The area in blue that's above states the encroachment does not meet the criteria listed under 7.52, therefore was denied. So we have the 2 criteria that based it, that caused that weren't met, that denied the 7.5.2. I will show in the following photos the encroachment does meet the criteria in 7.5.2 as the reason for my appeal. The third photo, the reason we're here is the denial letter stated that the direct district staff are not able to issue an encroachment permit due to the required bylaw criteria not being met. But it has suggested that we bring the appeal to the council, and that's why we're here. We brought it to you to get your opinion with regards to our differing points of view. Photo 4 is the area in discussion. Note the area in yellow. This is a very confusing point. The area in yellow is the District of West Vancouver's property and has nothing to do with our site. It's very confusing because everything that was set up there has historically been there for 40 years. So if someone shows up and takes a look at the site, I agree with them, that area could cause a problem with the water line because the water line goes through there. But again, the blue line is the approved where we're allowed to put the rocks, and the red line is where they are. We're talking 3 feet in difference between approved and not approved. So photo 5 shows the water line and the infrastructure. At the very top of the property in blue, you can see the blue line coming down at the top of the property. That's the water line. That's actually going into the yellow area. That's the District of West Vancouver's area and has nothing to do with the appeal that we're asking. The line that's red along the bottom, that's the sanitary line. And the rocks that we've placed has prevented trucks from parking over top of the sanitary line, which was a problem in the past. Photo number 6 shows the area of the lot. Okay, I already did that one, sorry. This is the photo number 6 is the area where the water line goes. This is the District of West Van property. This has nothing to do with us. It's not deeded to us. This wasn't created by us, built by us. This is where the water line goes down through. So I have no control over this. I state this because if one of the criteria for denying our encroachment permit is because we affect the infrastructure, and in actual fact, we do not affect the infrastructure, then I think that's something that really needs to be taken into consideration. Yeah.
There's a massive slope as well. So the road at the top, what you're looking at where the truck is, it's flat up there, but it slopes down to our property.
So we'll go to the next photo. So photo 7 shows the damage to the roadway by cars parking off the roadway. It's incredibly important that I mentioned to the council and to the mayor, we don't have curbs in this part. They stop. So what happens is the curb would stop a vehicle from parking onto the boulevard grass. We have a serious problem with, in the winter, we're on a very steep hill. So always, you know, the service vehicles or everything else, they try to touch this side of the roadway. That causes the ruts to the boulevard grass, that causes erosion. And over time, you can see in this photo how much slumping of asphalt has actually occurred. So the next photo will show you what erosion looks like on my neighbor's property who doesn't have rocks. That's what happens when cars park off the roadway and onto the boulevard. Photo number 9 states the encroachment cannot pose a hazard to the vehicles on the highway. Clearly, the rocks are not on the highway, and if we had a curb, the curb would be closer to the edge of the road. We're discussing the rocks being 1 meter, 3 feet from the edge compared to 2 meters, 6 feet. We're discussing it because it comes with reason. We're trying to prevent damage to the boulevard, erosion to the road, collapsing of the road, potential cars in the winter. When it snows, it's very hard to see the road edge. With the rocks, everybody sees them and it's clear as a bell. With no curbs, a steep hill, this is additional hazards that I don't think were taken into consideration when we asked for the rocks. Photo 10. Yep.
Sorry, can we just go back to that last photo for a
This one,
moment?
yeah.
I'm just curious, is the neighbor across the street, is that an accurate depiction? I wanted very much to get up today to see it for myself, but time just didn't permit it. But is the home across the street, are those rocks similar to yours? Is that?
That's Hilda, and she had the same problem. So she has placed rocks. So the 3 properties on my corner, plus I have photos showing many more in the neighborhood. West Van is built on rocks. So I mean, to be quite honest, everybody has rocks everywhere in West Van. We put a permit in for every bit of work that we did to the house, and we're going to show the difference that we believe shows an improvement. But yes, that is across the street from our property, and there's another one with rocks across the street from our property. Photo 9. Yeah. 6.5.2 states the encroachment cannot pose a hazard. Sorry, photo 10 is this one. The director may issue an encroachment permit as long as it complies with section 6.5. The crucial part here is if you look at B, it states that you can have rocks within the 2 meters as long as the sizes and they're not a continuous wall. We meet that criteria. If you believe that we do not affect any of the utilities or the infrastructure like I've shown, we meet that criteria. If you believe that the rocks do not interfere with vehicles on the road, we meet that criteria. Photo 11 states the encroachment needs to be consistent and contribute to the established character of the boulevard and neighboring properties. And just like Mayor Sager asked, across the street from us, 2 properties have the same setup, which you can see in these photos here. Again, it's people just put one wheel off the road and it deteriorates everything. Photos 12, which is the next one coming up. This is West Van installation on Amble Parks. We didn't create this concept. This was well used in West Vancouver to prevent the deterioration of the boulevard and the roadway. And, you know, it works real well. It works in the park. It works for us. The neighbors, we canvassed all our neighbors. They love it. They love what we've done to the property. Photo 13. This is the childcare in Ambleside Park. This is another space that has rocks all on the boulevard. I mean, these are a little close, but they're on every boulevard that we go. The next photo is another one across from our house. This is the neighbor that had people parking on their tree roots and killing the boulevard tree. And in order to defend the tree, they circled it with rocks. Our neighbors have voiced strong support for the placement. Photo 15 is a photo of our house before we purchased it and before we started all the permitted work. We had permits from the beginning to the end. This site was a disaster. The neighbors hated it. It was a party house, and we've cleaned it up now. Like, the visibility has been improved 1,000 times.
It was a safety issue as well, because a lot of the neighbors, if you look to the right of the photo, when they were driving down the street, they couldn't see the car was coming up around the corner. So they were so happy that we took down the bushes.
So 15 shows the before, this is after. Now, the trees aren't over the road. The cars aren't parking on the boulevard. They're not eroding the boulevard. I believe the road will stay, the surface of the road won't be deteriorated like it was before. Visibility, before you couldn't see any cars coming out or going in. We're on another corner at the very end. You couldn't see around the corner. So every one of the neighbors, the one thing that the neighbor had asked us, and we included into our permit, was we would not create parking right across from her house because she didn't want that. The rocks create a barrier to that, and it's on the bottom section, and it protects the sanitary line from heavy vehicles parking over top of it.
Sure what that is?
No, so photo 17 is the wording of the encroachment permit. Again, as per the documents, we have the power within this room to reasonably look at the reasons why we're asking for the encroachment. It's outside of a general rule, but it's with reason. If you agree the rocks do not interfere with the buried utilities or vehicles on the roadway, I would appreciate your support for the encroachment permit. This is the final requirement to resolve in order to finalize our outstanding building permit, which we've used for every bit of this process, and we've gone through it all. And I'd like to thank you for your time, and I will be happy to attempt to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson has a question.
Thank you. Yes, I have a few. I'll start with staff. Does staff agree with the photo that showed where the line, the services are with respect to the rocks?
It's through the mayor. I mean,
Thank you.
the services are largely irrelevant. I mean, the reason we're denying it is because of the vehicle safety issue. That's the key reason for the denial, is the 2 meters is for, you know, the issue of cars striking it, safety, and emergency vehicles being able to park on the boulevard.
Okay, and then do you believe there might be an in-between spot between where they are and where they should be? Or is it either or in
Well,
your
the
mind?
rules are 2.
I agree that the rules, but
Could be 1.
if there was an appetite to indulge this, to me, it looked like a number of the rocks were well off the road and wouldn't be an issue for traffic. But there were a few that were closer to.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the concern is just vehicles who, if they had to leave the road for whatever reason, striking the rocks. If a fire truck or something needed to park in that boulevard, wouldn't be able to. If, you know, there's equipment, you know, snow clearing equipment, things like that. I mean, those are the general concerns. Of course, you know, there's always a risk assessment with these sorts of things, and council is within its purview to grant the rocks be there.
Okay, and then to the presenter, you mentioned that there was a problem in the past with the rocks being over the sanitary line. What was,
No, there wasn't a problem with the rocks, with the sanitary line. What happened was is that vehicles in this photo here would park off the roadway. And that would deteriorate. It's actually a ditch that in the winter that the water would go into. So when they muddy up that ditch, then the water would pop out over the roadway. And that's why the neighbor across from us didn't want any parking in along that roadway. So the rocks that we placed in the photo, they prevent that from, if we had curbs here, if we guys put in curbs, the rocks will disappear. We don't want them. It's just without the curbs, like we live here and it's really a problem. It really
Yeah.
is.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Thank you for your presentation. Well, I did visit your property, and I have to tell you, I thought those rocks, boulders, were absolutely massive. And they're white and they're an eyesore. And what it looked to me, member of the public, is essentially that you did not want anybody to park in front of your house. So as a consequence, what you did is you basically encapsulated district land so nobody could park in front of your house. So should I wish to park in front of your house, I would literally be parking my car on a slope in front of those rocks right out on the road. So if somebody came around that corner and I was parked there, they could conceivably take me out, or now they've got to go further into the roadway to pass me by. So I think it's very magnanimous of yourself that you wish to protect this line. But when you showed us these various pictures of the parks, the reason that those rocks are in the parks, first of all, it's district land. So it's district land. And we have them there because we don't want people to drive onto our park land. All right, we want to protect the natural parkland. So I went there because I wanted to obviously see, so that I spoke from an informed perspective. But you've done the entire side of the road. There is no place to park in front of your house except on the roadway. Your neighbor across the street has what one would call some semblance of rock, but these are massive boulders. And then as you go to the other side of your driveway, you continue the massive boulders around the corner. So if I were a member of the public, of which I am, I would basically say, you don't want anybody from the public parking on that grass, which you planted, and because those cars will be an eyesore in front of your house. So if I wanted to achieve that objective, I would agree with the staff, and then I would put plantings of bushes and such the like. But no, I have no support for what you've done. Thank you.
Can I speak to that?
Sir, I'll just ask Councillor Gambioli and then we'll give you an opportunity to respond. Councillor Gambioli?
Thanks. So question for staff. So this bylaw appears to have been more recently either updated or passed in 2021. Rings a bell. So what was the reasoning in 2021? Do you, just generally speaking, was it the issue of cars driving over rocks and emergency vehicles? Is that, I mean, that seems
Through the mayor, and I think it goes back longer. I mean, I think this general prohibition in terms of having rocks farther back goes back to when the bylaw was initiated. I believe it was back in about 2008 when the bylaw first came into effect. And that prohibit, the direction to have rocks farther back was a number of reasons. One was safety, of course. You know, if a car is leaving the traveled surface of the road, there is a safety consideration. A big part of it, though, was also about having the boulevard available for parking, for opportunities to come off the road. To, you know, again, it's the public road, right? And I think that a large part of it was about not necessarily allowing for the privatization of the space, for allowing for public parking. And if you walk around this neighborhood here, you'll see on the boulevard, there are a number of places where you can, you know, clearly pull off and you know, use maybe different treatments than grass, but to pull off and park and to use that public space. And again, they're having the boulevard as a bit of a release valve in the opportunity in the cases where there are, for example, fire trucks. That's another reason. So not just one reason, sort of multiple reasons. It's sort of been our practice. I do appreciate that we're not. Not everybody in the district complies. As I've said before, I don't have the staff and the resources to go out on a kind of a witch hunt and look for every single rock that's 2 meters from the traveled surface of the road. But I think where there's a new building, a new home, where folks are expected to comply with the bylaw. You know, staff are doing their due diligence and coming forward with the recommendation.
Well, and I have to say that, you know, in the past, well, I would just, I guess, say that we need to, you know, support staff for doing comprehensive inspections, you know, because there's a lot of people that do crazy things that are not related to building the house. So I think that we should thank staff for, you know, doing a comprehensive inspection. And yeah, that's my recollection around the bylaw in 2021. And I think it is the issue of privatizing public land. And, you know, how far do we go with that? And, you know, that was part of the reasoning for sure. Again, yeah, if it's going to be blocking emergency vehicles and damaging cars, then, you know, the next thing we know is that, you know, we're going to start getting sued for people's cars being damaged because it's on the, you know, public boulevard, really. So I agree with Christine. You know, if I were you, I would plant small hedge plants in place of those rocks. I would move them back another meter, and then no one is going to encroach on your boulevard. I would also say that I walked past a house that was just completed around the corner from me, and they have planted, you know, right out to the boulevard, and they have created a parking spot. They don't have a very large frontage like this example, but they've created a parking spot, and then they planted right out to the road with planting. So no one's going to drive over that. You can see it. You don't have to have a ton of rock to make your point. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder.
Just a couple of quick questions. I should probably know the answer to this. This is for staff. How far does the property line or the boulevard, so from the edge of the roadway back, how far is that? Is that, you know, a district land?
From the edge of the roadway
Yeah.
to the property line?
Yeah.
That varies considerably throughout the municipality. You know, it can be anywhere from, you know, a few feet to, you know, 50 feet. It can really vary depending on what portion of the municipality that you're in. Typically, I don't know, about 20 feet maybe from the traveled surface of the road to the PL.
Okay. In this circumstance, do we happen to know how close the property line itself is to the roadway?
You know, quick math, judging by the drawing that he showed, it looks like about 4 or 5 meters. So what's that, like 16 feet? I don't know. I mean, I'd have to confirm that, but
Okay.
you know, just by looking at the graphic
Okay.
and the council report.
And I guess the other question is also for staff. I know during a lot of developments and what have you, the district will insist that, you know, if roadways have to be repaired and driveways are done, curbs have to be replaced at the expense of the homeowners or the developers. Is the option available for a resident to request curbing along the road paid for by the resident?
I'm not sure. I'd have to get back to you on that. I think that part of the challenge with that, I think, would be kind of tying in a consistent streetscape. I would want to review with my colleagues in engineering if that's something that would be acceptable. But, you know, on a neighborhood basis, I think it's, if a new house was going in and they wanted to do an improvement on the boulevard, it's certainly something we'd consider.
So my only other comment, just in regards to the location of these rocks, and I understand and sympathize with the concerns and issue you raised, but even with where the rocks are parked now being a meter back, doesn't prevent a vehicle from still parking right on the edge along the existing grass that exists between the rocks and the roadway itself. Is that fair to say?
We have had a situation where a vehicle did put their wheel off of, even with the rock there. That is correct.
And you appreciate and understand that, you know, they're not doing anything other than the fact that they're driving on your nicely manicured lawn, which is.
It was our delivery driver dropping off our Amazon package that did it. So it was kind of, I mean, we put them there to allow people to know that the parking is for off the side of the street, not onto the boulevard, which caused the problem. That's what they're there for. If we had a curb, we wouldn't need them.
Right, but I guess my point is you appreciate and understand that people are able to park, you know, if their wheels happen to be on your manicured lawn, they are technically allowed to park there right up to where the rocks exist now. So,
And they do daily, they do. because there still is that 3 feet, so they are parking there. I think the issue too is that it goes around a corner, it's on a slope. So when there's snow there and that sort of stuff, the rocks do show up, so people do see that there is a slope and it does give them some guidance. You don't have snow often, just a week of the year.
Those are my just comments. Thank you, Councillor Thompson, please.
Well, I had some comments, but I know you want to address
Oh.
Councillor Cassidy's.
Yeah, I
Um,
was just gonna say that with regards to the comment with the size of the rocks, as per 7.5, section B of the bylaws, it states the size of the rocks can be, the rocks are in compliance with 7.5, section B. We're here because the application for an encroachment was denied for 2 reasons. I've showed council that those 2 reasons, we do not believe we interfere with any of the infrastructure. And we do not believe that we interfere with vehicles on the roadway. So for the merits of the bylaw, those 2 reasons for denying the encroachment permit, we don't see that as being reasons. And that's why we're here. We're just asking for people to understand from homeowners that are here. We hear people say that it'd be easier to do this, easier to do that. We showed the before, we showed the after. We're not people who are trying to monopolize the boulevard. People park on the boulevard, and that's why we set them back. What we're trying to do is have them not slide down in the winter over top. And this is where, if we go back to the districts, what the district did with theirs, you know, they put a barrier up because it's such, like, this is an extreme situation in the winter. A truck gets their front tire off that grass into muddy, wet, and it keeps going. Then we have a wall that's 15 feet tall. We put a fence there to stop it. We have 2 young children. We're not trying to prevent people from parking. We're not trying to be magnanimous over owning all the district land. We're actually just trying to make it better. But we hear what you have to say and we take it with grace.
Mhm. Well, thank you. And you know, it's interesting because I, of course, went by the site. I see this treatment all over West Vancouver, and I think a big part of it is because we don't have curbs and sidewalks and that barrier between public, private, and I understand staff are doing their job and they're making sure people comply, and that's what we're supposed to do. You know, I really appreciate the visibility you created on that corner, because I know throughout the district, these large hedges that grow into the road are actually more hazardous than these rocks could imagine. You know, the rocks, you know, it's it would be nice to explore. I can understand why you're doing that, and I actually applaud it. And I think also cars, whether there's snow there or not, accidentally going onto lawn creates a stability in the drive that could also cause accidents as they're going around the corner, particularly on the upside of the property. So I can appreciate what you're trying to do. I also appreciate that you're trying to create an aesthetic around the house, which I think is great. It might be worthwhile exploring some softer options. You know, it's hard to say which direction to go. I actually don't have a huge problem with this, but if there's any work you can do to make it a little more safe, less a hazard if someone hits it, I don't know. I'm afraid I don't have those answers, but
Again, the rocks are permitted 6 feet. We have them
Yeah.
3 feet, so.
Is there any suggestions?
I wish I had some.
But just on that, can I ask a question? If these homeowners, they've done this lovely renovation or rebuilt this home, is there anything preventing them from applying and paying for a curb themselves? I mean, it just comes down to limited resources for the municipality. I'm sure there are lots of places in the community we would love to put curbs if we had the money for it. Could they apply and get a curb put in?
Through the mayor, I'm certainly willing to have that conversation with them, and we, you know, talk to our engineering group and see if that's a possibility.
I mean, it seems to me that it can't be that expensive, and
quite honestly, the rock treatment looks more appealing than a concrete curb, but I don't know.
well, it depends if, you know, what kind of curb it goes in, but it then protects our road. I mean,
Yeah,
and,
well,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, that's
The
to
slumping of
me,
the
a
road.
fundamental concern is the stability,
Yeah,
like, and that
that's
picture
concerning.
of the road. And
And it's a steep hill there.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then
it-
it's a drop off of
And you don't
12
see it when
feet
you're
on
in
the
the
other
car,
side
yeah.
of the wall.
You don't, yeah, you don't see it in the photo very well. but
Or you
it
do,
is, yeah.
it's very.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder, please.
More question for staff. I'm getting the impression from the applicant, though, that the reason that the encroachment was denied was for two reasons. My understanding is that the reason it's denied is because they're not 2 meters back from the edge of the roadway.
That's right.
Okay, and so that's where I have a bit of an issue. I mean, we have bylaws, we have them in place for a certain reason. And here, I don't think it has anything, I'm not hearing from staff that the reason for the denial is because of the water, or it is because it doesn't fall within the bylaws, which are 2 meters clearly back from the roadway.
Well, staff have to enforce the bylaws.
And so, and I understand and appreciate that. So I guess from my perspective, you know, if they were to move one further meter back and be within compliance, you know,
There's no issues.
I think that, you know, we have to try and maintain some sort of
But the
consistency
denial
throughout the
letter
community.
Yeah, the denial letter states that the procedure in order to have it reviewed and to discuss it is to bring it to the council and show the reasons. So the reasons it was denied don't hold true. Therefore, the denial of that encroachment permit, it wasn't for the fire truck. That's not a bylaw. The
So through-
bylaw states
Through the
what
mayor,
it is.
just to clarify that,
Mr. Bailey.
we're denying it because it doesn't comply with the bylaw, and we think it is, as noted in the council report, it poses a hazard and obstruction to vehicles, and so that's the reason why we're not recommending.
May I just ask, sir, I just don't want to put you on the spot, but if the municipality said, well, you can put a curb in, would you spend the money and put a curb in?
To be quite honest, we're deep above our head in this property. It was a disaster. We bought it because we moved. We have 2 children. One went to Mulgrave, one went to West Van. We wanted to get out of Kitsilano. It was just not where we wanted to be anymore.
We're happy about that.
Yeah, my parents have lived here on Caulfield forever. We threw everything we had and we bought a wreck. I get it. I'm a landscaper by trade. That's what I do. We can't get our $7,500 back from the deposit on the permit, and you know, that's where we're at right now. So we tried to follow every rule. We're trying to be reasonable. We think that.
Sir, if you're a landscaper, did you contemplate putting in some landscaping there that would?
Anytime you plant landscaping, they drive over it and it's a disastrous mess. I mean, the Amazon parking guys were gonna drive over just about everything, so. But I mean, you know, we're doing it for not just that, but we're doing it to try and keep the road. You can see where the state of the road is. You know, the district did this, we took that look and went with it, but it is what it is. It's a tough one, right? I mean, curbs would stop any cars from parking off of it and would stop that erosion, but we don't have that money. We probably don't have the pocket funds. I mean, that's probably talking $30,000-$40,000 for curbs these days.
How much is it? Does anyone have an idea?
I'll get to you, Councillor Cassidy. I've respected everybody. They're just speaking. You know, what does a curb cost, Mr. Bailey? Do you know any idea? I don't know. Councillor Cassidy.
So I do recognize your issue, I do, but unfortunately, I don't agree with it. And the thing about it is, you talk about a steep street, and it is a steep street. So as you come around the corner, which you see that car right now, and let's pretend it's an icy winter day, there is no place for a car to pull off the road to prevent itself from skidding down the asphalt. Even if you turn the corner to try and stop yourself, you've got rocks around the corner as well. I mean, these are boulders, they're not rocks. So I just don't understand, why not just comply with our bylaw, please? Which is, you know, what was it, 2 meters, we'd like you to pull them back. That's not significant. You can put, you are a landscaper, you can put in various types of plants in there, even more rocks if you wish, to landscape that area and just comply with our bylaw. I mean, your rocks are so intrusive to one's eyesight coming up there. You can't miss the property. I mean, and then, as I said, if you want to pull, I couldn't pull in front of your place. I went to the top of it. All right. And in a winter's day, coming down there, you are going to skid your whole way. And as you want to turn the corner, you've still got those boulders there. This is nothing personal. This is nothing to do with our sewer system or anything else to do with that. Because if everybody was protecting our sewer system, boy, we'd be a very blessed community. This is about improving the frontage of your home. And I just ask you to please comply with the bylaw. We ask the same of everyone else, that they do exactly the same. And I mean, I have boulevard property and I want to plant a certain plant on it. And I got a note from bylaws saying, take that plant out. It's an invasive species. And so I did. It's our land.
To your question about the vehicle coming down the road, I think it's practical that if a car comes off the road, heading down a steep surface on a muddy grass, they'll end up in our driveway, which is a 12-foot drop below. I appreciate your concern, but I don't think the practicality is actually.
But if the boulders are moved to where the district would like them to move, nobody is going to be coming down your driveway. And it's actually not down your driveway, it's off the side of the property. Nobody will be going because the boulders are just moved back. So I just say, you know, life is just so much simpler. Move them where they need to be in compliance with everybody else, and then landscape the rest of the property beautifully.
I accept your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Councillor Cassia, I sense you want to make a motion.
I recommend that the boulevard encroachment permit for rocks fully within district-owned public land and abutting 2035 Russet Way be denied. And 2, the property owners be required to move all rocks at least 2 meters away from the road edge on the public boulevard.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Gambioli. Is there any further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Sorry. Thanks for your attempt. Thank you. Item number 5, the proposed development application for 3861 and 3875 Uplands. And I know we have a presentation, but members of council are very familiar with this. Does anyone require a further presentation? This is to set a date. Councillor Gambioli. But we did have a public presentation of this at our last meeting. So this will be, I assume it's the exact same presentation that we had 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we do have a presentation as well. I understand the applicant, the Lionsgate Bridge is closed. I don't know if folks are aware of that or it was. So the applicant was on their way over from Vancouver. I believe they are available by WebEx. But so it's, you know, council's pleasure if we give a presentation, but we're certainly prepared to do so.
Okay.
Well, I think we should either delay for a bit if there's any chance they're getting here.
Are they planning on
Or
still
I don't know how
coming?
many
Yeah,
people.
I understand that they're available
Okay.
online to
I'll
present.
ask, we'll
They are.
defer this and, sorry, we'll defer it if they're on their
I
way.
don't know how many people are here in the audience for this matter,
No,
but
sorry,
anyway, I think it's a
sorry.
pretty important issue that we should, you know,
Councilor
Bill-
Gambioli, they're not on their way. They went back to their
Oh, I'm
offices
sorry.
because the bridge is
Okay.
closed. So they're
All
online and
right,
prepared to
just to
respond.
satisfy, let's have the presentation
Okay,
again.
thank you.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public here tonight that came to speak to this item? No. Okay. Mr. Allen, it's over to you. And the motion tonight is to set this for a public hearing on September 8th. We're going to hear it again. Well, a member of council wants to hear it. We'll hear it.
So this development application that was before council in June is being considered tonight, applies to 4 parcels shown in red here. Lot 1 at 3181 Chippendale Road, Lot 9 at 3389 Chippendale Road, lots 12 and 13 at 3875 and 3861 Uplands Way. And the green lot shown there is lot 11, the district-owned lot at 3939 Uplands Way. So the proposal, BD has submitted a development application to amend the zoning of lot 12 to allow strata housing instead of the rental housing as required by the CD3 zone. They've applied to transfer 102,000 square feet of floor area attributed to the district-owned lot 11 to their parcels. They've applied to exceed the maximum number of stories on their parcels, lots 1, 9, 12, and 13. And they are proposing to construct lots 12 and 13, the buildings on those parcels, to step 3 of the BC Building Code. Just note on this, the rental units on lot 11 in the near term are not seen as desirable. This is because there are a few amenities in the area typically expected in proximity to rental buildings, such as easy access to commercial areas and transit service. The proposal results in 324 units of market strata housing in the near term, adding to the supply of housing in West Vancouver. The proposed height of the subject buildings are shown here, with lot 1 at 20 stories, lot 9 at 25 stories, lots 12 at 16 stories, and lot 13 at 20 stories. The proposal also requires modification of covenants registered on the title of the 5 parcels to allow for the floor area redistribution, an amendment of the Rogers Creek Phase Development Agreement to remove the requirement to construct a rental building on lot 12. This table shows the proposed redistribution of the 102,000 square feet amongst the parcels. Approximately 11,000 square feet goes to lot 1, 62,000 square feet to lot 9, 9,000 square feet to lot 12, and 19,000 square feet to lot 13. BD are not proposing to obtain any of the units allocated to lot 11, so the units proposed are within the total number of units allocated to those 4 parcels. A combined amenity contribution and purchase of lot 11 floor area is proposed, totaling $13.2 million. The project would also generate $1.1 million in DCCs. So the proposed zoning bylaw amendment would remove the requirements for units on lot 12 to for the requirement on units on lot 12 to be rental tenure units, amend the maximum number of stories for lots 1 and 13 to 20 stories, and for lot 9 to 25 stories. The zoning bylaw amendment amends the maximum height for all 4 parcels and amends the minimum percentage of units under 93 meters squared, which is around 1,000 square feet, from 30% down to 27%. The proposed amendment of the PDA removes the requirement for construction of a purpose-built rental building on lot 12. So the proposed development of lot 9 is for a 25-story apartment building incorporating 92 units with 201 vehicle parking spaces and 210 bicycle parking storage spaces. The proposed design of the building and materials incorporates a darker palette to reduce apparent massing and blend into the surrounding mountain backdrop. The darker colors and a preference for natural materials reflect the natural setting of the site. Landscaping of lot 9 is proposed to provide visual interest along the streetscape, reflect the surrounding forest context, and allow for programmed areas for residents of the building. Proposed development of lot 12 and 13 includes a 16-story building on lot 12 and a 20-story building on lot 13. Both buildings are located over a common parkade that crosses the common property line. Lot 12 is to contain 81 units, lot 13, 87 units. The common parkade provides 366 vehicle parking spaces and 375 vehicle parking storage spaces. The design of these buildings include large roof overhangs and prominent columns to help break up building massing and provide visual interest. The applicant is proposing a darker color palette for the buildings again to help reduce apparent massing and integrate into the mountain backdrop. The proposed landscaping of the site utilizes the existing rock cliffs on the site and reflects the forest context. Similar to lot 9, it includes landscaping and berms in the front yard to provide streetscape interest. So the process for this development proposal is that tonight council are considering first reading of the phased development authorization bylaw amendment and setting a public hearing for September 8th. Considering setting the date for the zoning bylaw amendment for September 8th. And at a future council meeting, council will consider the development permits for lots 9, 12, and 13 and authorize consideration of authorizing staff to amend the covenants and undertake other administrative steps to give effect to the proposal. And that's my presentation.
Thanks very much. Any questions from members of council? Councillor Snyder, do you wish to put the motions?
Just before I go on, I just want to remind everybody that this is actually just for first reading to call a public hearing. There's not a decision being made. This is just to go to the public hearing, the next stage. There was one discussion I know that had come up before. Our planning commission had seen the information some time ago and had come back with some recommendations and some changes. From my understanding, the proposer has made all of the changes and addressed the concerns that our planning commission had presented to them, and their planning committee has responded in kind by saying that they've acknowledged and agreed or approved the changes that were made. Correct? I know there wasn't another meeting, but I believe that did it ever go back to the planning committee, or it was just that the changes were made as recommended?
Yeah, through the merit, as outlined, the applicant obviously attended the meeting, heard what the planning committee had to say, and then made the changes in accordance with their direction. Staff reviewed them and considered the changes consistent with the recommendations of the planning committee.
Right, so the staff is content that they.
So we have reviewed it in the context of those comments.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So two questions for staff. My first question is relating to the general concept of, getting rid of this rental. So a number of years ago, when this part of the area plan was negotiated with the owners of the day, which was British Pacific Properties, we thought, and when I say we, I mean council as well as staff, thought it was a good idea to create a building that was all rental. So what has changed in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, through the mayor, I think there over time, and since that was approved, we think it's highly unlikely that a rental building, given market conditions today, given sort of what I would call right now a general lack of amenities. It was always hoped that Cypress Village would come quickly and there'd be rental and those sorts of things, but that's taken longer through a process. The market for rental in that area is struggling. And so we do acknowledge that it's not the rental housing that was initially provided. But on balance, we think that sort of given the need for just housing in general in this community, that we proceed. We want to see something built as opposed to nothing built for sort of 5 to 10 years. We think that rental will be provided in the village, in Cypress Village, and that's well underway. And there's obviously key requirements for that as that moves forward, and they're obligated to do that contractually. So those are the main reasons why the district, while we do acknowledge that we're kind of giving up on rental on this site, we also think, hey, look, we have broader housing challenges. We want to see something built as opposed to nothing, and hence our recommendation.
So if we, as you say, give up on rental at the site, and we essentially agree to shift the volume of developable space over to market strata, then we are getting back presumably over $13 million for that to happen. If this all goes along, then I would like to suggest that we should be putting a significant portion of that over $13 million into our affordable housing fund so that we can create rental in another place. So that is closer to transit and closer to services. So how would we do that, and when is the right point to propose that, please?
Through the mayor, I mean, certainly that's something that obviously you've said that now, so that's on the record. I think if this proceeds to public hearing, you raise it at public hearing, And then, if it was council's wish to make that allocation, I think prior to final adoption, you would, council would pass a motion instructing staff to allocate a certain proportion of the, the voluntary amenity contribution to our affordable housing fund, and council could make that decision.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Snyder, could I ask for motion? Now, these are fairly lengthy and they are printed, so I'm content if you want to move them as recommended.
That works for you, Ms. Dallas? As long as they're individually done each time. Okay, so I'd like to make the recommendation number 1 in regards
Actually,
to
that's
phase
the
development
shortest
agreement.
one. So
Yep. The first one, I'm happy to read out that the proposed phase development agreement authorization bylaw number 5041 2019, amendment bylaw number 5400 2025 be read for a first time.
thank you, Councillor Lambert, please. Thank you. Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried.
Then I'd like to make the next recommendation as written.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? We'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thank you.
And again, the next recommendation as written in regards to the zoning bylaw.
And that is for setting a public hearing September 8th at 6 p.m. and that's seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. And finally,
And I'd like to make the final recommendation in regards to the phase development agreement authorization
thank you, Councillor Lambert.
as written.
Discussion, question. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gambioli, sorry.
I see in recommendation 2, it's September 8th at 5 p.m. And the second one is September 8th at 6 p.m. Or do I just not have my glasses on?
No, you're
So
quite correct.
that's
correct.
supposed to be
Through the
separated?
mayor, that's correct. So the public hearing would be September 8th at 5 p.m. And then the development permit would be during the regular meeting at 6 p.m.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, the zoning bylaw.
Right, yes. The public hearing is at 5 p.m.
Okay,
Sorry, I'll correct myself because I said 6 p.m.
yeah,
the
that's what
council
I,
meeting.
yeah, okay.
Sorry for that confusion. I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Item number 6, this is 1921 Fulton Avenue. And have we got? Are
Mr.
we
Mayor, I can
expecting a
give
presentation
I
on
can give a
this?
brief update on this if you'd like. I mean,
Yes,
basically a section 57 notice is put in place to alert folks, potentially, prospective purchasers. I understand this house is up for sale, that there are a number of, violations on this site. So council is aware, I mean, we've had ongoing enforcement issues with this home since August 2022. We've issued numerous letters, tickets, and orders. We now have a new building bylaw that will help us be more effective in some enforcement orders. And we've also, with this site, experienced numerous neighborhood complaints. There's a long list of bylaw violations. They failed to obtain necessary building and trade permits for enclosing the carport, plumbing and electrical work, interior renovations, including 3 residential basement suites, new laundry, bathrooms, kitchen, and new windows and doors. They failed to notify the district prior to altering approved plans. They failed to call for inspections. They failed to supply requested documents for structural works. They failed to meet construction noise hours. They failed to comply with the zoning bylaw. So there's 3 unlawful basement suites and a total of 4 kitchens. They've tampered with posted orders and they've occupied spaces without applying for or completing the required permits. So we're going to continue to enforce on this with respect to our bylaws, but staff feel that a section 57 is prudent to put a notice on title that there are indeed significant building infractions that are happening here. If the property transfers, it's important that a new person purchasing a property is aware of that, and just folks in general who have an interest in it are aware of it. That's it.
Thank you. And I take it you must be the property owners.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to address council.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, could we get your names, please?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Shahram, and my wife's name is Sohila. I'm originally from Iran, and my wife originally from Russia. And then we lived a year in Germany and also in the States. And right now we prepare to live in Vancouver. First of all, I need to let you know, we requested for a Farsi interpreter, but you didn't prepare for us. We are good very on the reading and writing, but we are not good on the speaking and listening because of the issue on hearing. That's the reason we prepare to talk with you with the Farsi interpreter. Otherwise, I wrote it down something here. I can read it for you if you want. It's up to you.
Well, so this is your opportunity to make a case. You've heard what Mr. Bailey said. Do you agree with what he said? Do you have a
No,
number of?
I'm completely not, these are not true. Let me explain all of them, and then you can find out what happened here.
Thank
Is
you.
that good?
Yes,
Yeah,
that helps a
perfect.
lot.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect. We addressing serious concerns regarding the handling of building permit BP 118536 issue January 3, 2023. For a home daycare at 1921 Fulton Avenue and the subsequent issues with converting our basement into the bachelor suite. We seek clarification and resolution for the following. First, permit complaints and neighbor objection. Despite obtains a valid permit for home daycare, we faced objection from the neighbors. Some of whom reportedly used their influence, including a former municipal official, to obstruct our project with baseless complaints. If our intent was non-complaint, why did secure a permit? Why were issues not addressed by the municipal inspector during the construction? Number two, lack of municipal or city oversight. Our property is located adjacent to the West Vancouver City Hall, yet no inspectors visited the site during the construction to verify compliance. Why was there no oversight, and why are we being held accountable for the municipality's failure to monitor the project? Number three, financial and emotional toll. We have incurred significant costs and debt to comply with the regulation, yet the project remained unresolved. If you were in our position, how would you address the financial burden caused by the delay and lack of municipality support? Number four, city inspection, city inaction. The municipality became aware of our project when we requested a refund of the damage deposit. No follow-up emails, letters, or inspection were conducted before this. Does this not reflect a lack of diligence on your part? Why was no pre-permit inspection performed to ensure compliance? Number five, fire incident and restoration permit. After converting the unfinished basement into the bachelor suite, a fire damage to the main floor happened. When we applied for a restoration permit, we were instructed to renew the previous permit for $500 without an on-site inspection to assess the current state. We had been operating the suite legally for over a year at the point. Does this not demonstrate a lack of accountability and failure to address citizens' needs? Number six, city responsibility. Our family lawyer has reviewed the matter and believes the municipality's lack of oversight and communication constitutes negligence. We employed certified professionals at every stage of the project. Yet the municipality in action has expressed our challenge, our request. Given the municipality's shortcoming, we respectfully request, first, and immediate inspection of the property to assess correct situation. Because the previous inspector did that like a journalist, just took a picture. Never acceptable something like this. I'm as a home inspector, I was working in a wastewater treatment plant in Onassis Island as a civil engineer. I never seen something inspection before like this. Assistance in a legalization of bachelor suite at minimal cost, considering the economic hardship and our good faith effort to comply with the regulation. A clear explanation addressing the above question and the municipality failure to provide adequate oversight. We urge you to refrain from the dismissive or unreasonable response, as a further delay or obstruction will worsen our family's financial situation. We are prepared to take a legal action to protect our right if necessary. Please provide a written responsible within, 14 days or something like this to address these concerns and outline a path forward. Now, we are not happy about the rush inspection. No data, no solution, no devices, no equipment, no details. As a person familiar with the inspection, there is no issue to use it. Otherwise, you have to send a professional inspector in a different segment. So before clear and accurate inspection, you cannot make a decision. Due list, in my understanding, are: first, accurate inspection with the detail and solution. Second, after finish number one, we can think about and find the best way for the solution. Number three, this is the action we need to take. It's entirely unjust to slowly blames used and send accuracy letter. We must collectively take the city's issues alongside our own. Simply erasing everything and starting anew won't solve the problem. The best path forward might be the most challenging, but it's still uncertain. And also, in my understanding, you have to say thank you to us because we rebuilt a very old house to the livable place in this time. Now, most of the people prepare some of their home as a place for lease or Airbnb or something like this, and you know about that, and everybody knows about that. In this time, because of that problem that I say, please speak slowly and use the simple word to answer my question.
And one thing I want to add is there is a ticket for us, but there is no any notice before the ticket. So I'm wondering why they didn't put the notice, the bylaw or municipal didn't put the notice before the ticket. So we didn't know what happened.
Okay, I see questions or comments from members of council, and I'm going to start with Councillor Gambioli.
So my two questions actually for staff. What I hear generally is a complaint about oversight, and why is staff not doing enough oversight or follow-up? So do we have a response for that? Those comments?
Through the mayor, and I'd refer you to the council report. I mean, that's primarily where staff submission is on this, is that we're aware of a history of bylaw enforcement issues. We're aware of neighborhood complaints when we've investigated and done our due diligence, and staff have done that as they're meant to do. We have found these bylaw challenges. As the report states, there was clearly work done that we weren't aware of. When we did follow up and inspect, there were significant issues with the property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson, please.
That more or less answered mine. I guess I'm just wondering, at what point, all these notifications, do they go to the owner or the builder or both? And then who do you kind of hold accountable?
It's to the registered owner.
To the registered owner. So did you pass these on to your builder?
Sorry, say again.
Did you pass these concerns of the district onto your builder?
When I was in the city and requested for the restoration permit, they say doesn't matter. You can follow up the previous permit, and you have to pay 500 for the continue with the previous permit. I was wondering why they didn't come to take a look at our place, and if there is a problems there, they have to say it to us. This is their job. But unfortunately, I didn't see nobody show up there. I was wondering why. And after it happened something, they are looking for something else. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, and is Sylvia, was it?
Soheila.
Soheila, sorry. You said that there was no notice or no notices before your tickets. You just got tickets.
Yes. Yes.
Would you agree with that, Mr. Bailey?
I can't verify that exactly. I mean, I'm looking at the report, and that's the history that's laid out. We've received a number of complaints. There have been bylaw offense notices posted. There's been stop work orders posted. There's do not occupy orders posted, and those clearly haven't been followed.
Mr. Bailey, who was their builder?
That's who I was going to ask.
Mayor
Is
Sager.
it appropriate?
I don't want to interrupt. I just wanted to let you know that our manager of bylaw and licensing services is online to answer any questions related to the bylaw ticketing.
Sorry.
Okay.
Matthew O'Connor is online and can answer any questions related to the bylaw
Oh,
infractions.
I appreciate that. No, I'm just curious as to
Who the builder
who was
was.
the builder, sir?
I told you, the permit, when I wanted to get a restoration permit, they said you don't need anything. It means you don't need to hire the builder. It's my understanding. When I got the permit at the first time as a home daycare permit, we got a permit from the coastal head, and after that, we got a permit from the city of West Vancouver. But during this time, nobody requested for the builder.
So
if nobody requested for the builder, why we should find a builder? We just use the certified person, because I'm an inspector. I'm completely familiar for every details. I'm a professional civil engineer, and I completely knows about the details. For the structure, I already hired Hushang as a PNG, and he gave us the structure, and we just follow up that one. We didn't know about need to other permit or something like this. The city have to be requested to us, and then you have to get a permit for the other fields, like a plumbing, electrician, or something else. We realize we don't need. That's the reason we were here to get a permit. If needed something more, you have to let us know. This is the city of job. This is the job of the city.
But sir, you said you're a professional engineer?
Yes.
Wow, I would have thought of any person on the planet that would know that you've got to follow up. It would be you, sir.
We didn't do that exactly on the on the renovation or rebuild something like this. We're just working on the wastewater treatment plant that I said. My previous job is completely different from the construction or something like this, but we hire a certified electrician, certified plumber, and also PNG for the structure to prepare all things. It was in my understanding. If there is something else needed, this is the lack of the. This comes from the lack of the city knowledge or something like this. They didn't know about that. Nobody show up during the three years. Nobody show up. After we requested for deposit damage, and actually show up to some person, lots of people. It's very interesting.
Sir, did you submit building permit drawings?
Yes.
And you followed them to the T?
Sorry, say again.
If I was to look at your building permit drawings that you submitted, you got a building permit from the district, did you?
Yeah.
And if I come out to your home and I look at those drawings, have you built everything in exact accordance with those drawings?
No, that I told you. You know, when I was in the city and I told to your coworker in the city, we got a fire incident in our house, but we need to get a permit for everything. They said you have a permit already. You don't need to just do that and other things. And I send a letter to I send an email to the city because of our neighbor. We don't want to change the neighbor because of our neighbor doesn't like to put the daycare here. That's the reason we change our mind. And then just because we put lots of things there, lots of money, lots of cost on it. That's the reason we make a decision to prepare that place as a suite. And everybody knows these days, every people prepare to change the part of the house or home for the rented out, for the Airbnb or someplace like this. We realize there's no problem.
Okay.
The city asked us for the map and pictures from when we had fire. So we got pictures, map, and the area that I showed them we need to renovate again because we had more damage on it. So we did it. And they accepted and they followed with the permit and they asked to renew the old permit. Just
Okay.
that.
Ms. Rea, I'm a little confused. Do they have a permit for what they've done?
They do not. And, you know, it's come to our attention that, again, there are a number of offenses before there was a fire. They applied for a permit for some small renovations. Then subsequently, there was a real estate listing. And the real estate listing said the property is advertised as having 3 secondary suites in addition to the main residence, 7 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and 4 fully equipped kitchens with multiple units available for short-term or rental. And then so that real estate listing's in your staff report. As you know, the property is only permitted to have 1 kitchen and no secondary suites. A copy of the building plans comparing the original approved state of the main floor and basement is also in your council report. And again, the evidence shows that the basement is unfinished with no bedrooms, bathrooms, or kitchens. All work done in the basement to create the suites, hallway, and laundry room is unpermitted and unlawful. So that's the key issue. They have a number of contraventions of the building bylaw, including electrical work, and hence the do not occupy order. And now this is again one more step in terms of helping them get towards compliance with the Section 57 notice.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Councillor Snyder, please.
I have several questions. When you introduced yourself tonight, you said that you live in Vancouver. I'm not sure. Do you live in this home?
Yes.
You do live in this home. Okay, so you're living in West Vancouver.
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that you did not have a builder. So is that meaning that all the work that was done on the home you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody do that these days because if we need a builder, you know, is in my understanding, the builder have to get the permit. If the permit issued by the owner, it means you don't need please don't play with the board, okay? Don't need to get a permit by the builder. It means it's in my understanding, okay?
Yeah, I'm
he
just
said something
wondering
lie. He
who-
said something like, just stop, please. He said something lie because he wasn't, because he said something exactly the lie because he talked about the other things these days. My question is why we requested for the restoration permit. Sorry. When we requested for the restoration permit, nobody wants to come out in our place and take a look at why. Where were your inspector? Where were your co-worker? Is that it wasn't the, what you say? It wasn't the surgery operation or rocket science. It wasn't so far from here. Just you can walking just 100 meters far from here. You can come, you couldn't come. You could come here, there, and take a look at the place. If there is something wrong, You have to say to us, you cannot do that something like this. You have to do that. We pay, we were here because we wanted to obey the law, because we don't want to say something wrong. We were here to get a permit at the beginning for the home daycare, because we're gonna say again, because you ignore this part.
Okay, so let me just ask you just a couple more questions that I have. So
Go ahead.
originally, you applied for a permit to do some renovations to run a home daycare, correct?
Mhm.
And that's the only, from my understanding, that's the only application for the renovation that you had requested, other than when you had a fire, which is separate.
No,
The fire is separate
It's
to.
completely separate. After happened, the incident, fire happened after a year. After we used that place a year, we got a fire incident. We prepare our budget to and get the insurance as well to prepare and correct the place. We requested for the restoration permit because we talked with our insurance agent.
Right, but the restoration permit is different than the permit that you applied for.
I know,
Okay,
I know,
okay.
but
So-
my
so let me-
question, no, just please answer my question. Why the city says you have to continue with the previous permit?
Well,
This is your problem. This is your-
Well, I suspect that
Sir,
there's two
excuse me,
separate, two
sir.
separate issues. There's the fire issue. So if you needed to have some repairs done as a result of the fire to deal with your insurance company, that's a separate matter. But my understanding is you had applied for a renovation permit to build a daycare.
No, it's not correct.
Was at the first 1 year or maybe 1.5 years before the fire. So after.
Before the fire.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
But you're now relying on that permit that you were given for the daycare to, you think that that was sufficient for all of the work that you've done on the home?
So we applied for the new permit for after fire. So
Let
your
me-
co-working.
But your
So
permit
that-
after the fire was only in regards to the area damaged by the fire, not the rest of the house, correct?
I'm pretty sure when I read these sentences, you never take a, caution about that. I need to explain again. First of all, I apply for the home daycare because there was an unfinished basement in my house. We requested to prepare the home daycare permit. We prepare every document. I was in the city many times, and eventually I got the permit for a home daycare.
Sir, let me just
During that
finish.
time-
Let me finish, sir, because I understand all of that, and that's sort of my question. So my comment to you is, do you agree that the work that you did on the home, including the 3 separate suites, is nothing like the permit you applied for?
It's not correct. The 3 different suites, it's not correct. You say something wrong. We prepared that place instead of as I said in my letter, if you was if you were in my shoes, what we did because we couldn't continue with the home daycare. We didn't have any choice. We changed that place as a rental, as a bachelor suite or something like this. If there is something wrong, you have to come and then take a look at, is there any problem here? You have to nobody show up during the more than 3 years construction
See,
here.
that's where I have to
Nobody show up.
that's where I have to
This is
disagree with you. No, that's where I have to disagree with you. I think that anybody that is doing work on their home, and particularly somebody with your education, being an engineer, would understand that you need to ask for an electrical permit to have electrical work done. You would need a plumbing permit to have the plumbing work done. You would understand that the zoning of your house does not allow for multiple secondary suites,
Not the suites, the bachelors.
but there's 3 of them.
And when you put the lots of money and then you cannot continue with the home daycare, what should I do? My question is, please answer my question fairly.
But you chose not to go ahead with the daycare. And you weren't,
No, because of the neighbor, because I have a crazy neighbor, everybody knows her. And she was working in a West Vancouver city, and she knows every people, and she called every time to the city. When I sent lots of email to city, we didn't get that any response by the city, but when she called the city, right away, the bylaw show up and every people show up. I was wondering
So
what happened here.
my last question to you then is very simple. It's a yes or no, I guess. Did you do the plumbing and the electrical work on all of the renovations with a permit?
As I said, I hire the certified plumber and electrician, and I follow up just by the law. That's the reason we got a permit. We put the electrician station in our parking or in parkade. We put the electric station there under the electrician. Electrician try to get a permit, but our neighbor make a big problem for us. She's looking for something else. That's the reason. Stop at the beginning the city for our job, and then we requested for the home daycare, and they cancel that one. I have all the record.
So, but the answer to the question is no permit for the plumbing. and electrical
No,
work done.
yes, they have a permit from because your coworker didn't check everything, because I got a permit for the plumbing, I got a permit for the electrician, I got a permit for the everything. And also we upgraded our electrics from the 100 ampere to the 200 ampere.
Mr.
I was
Bailey,
wondering
is that
why you
correct?
didn't know about it. If you don't
That's not
have
correct.
any information, I can send it out to you.
Okay.
Mr. Bailey is saying that there was no permit issued for electrical or plumbing work done.
Okay, Councillor Cassidy, please.
Firstly, thank you very much for your presentation. I am somewhat confused on this subject. So firstly, what is the square footage of your home?
You are talking about the basement or whole?
No, the whole house.
I think 280 or something.
So it's 2,800
2,800, yeah.
2,800 square feet.
Yeah.
All right. And you have 3 suites in the basement.
No. There is no 3 suites. We prepared that place because we paid the lots of material and something because of the home daycare that I said.
All
I
right.
told this one 10 times.
Okay.
Just don't say suite because we prepared that place as a bachelor suite. But if you
Okay, sir,
if
excuse
you
me.
were in instead of us,
Excuse me, sir. I know your time is valuable, so I don't want to waste it, please. But you did repeatedly say that you had built 3 suites. So I must have misheard the 3 suites. But anyway, sir, so X number of years ago, I decided that I was going to move my sink. And I was going to move my sink, I think 6 inches a foot. And so I called up a plumber, and the plumber said to me, "Do you have a permit?" And I said, "What?" And he said, "You need a permit before this job is done. Call me when you got the permit." So you have said that you have used certified plumbers, certified electricians, certified everybody. Well, the first thing those professionals, and you said that you were using professionals, the very first thing that they would have said to you, and their terminology is, "Did you pull a permit?" And then it's your job to go down to the district hall, get the permit. When the electrician shows up again, you show him or her, as the case may be, the permit. All right. So I'm going to ask Mr. O'Connor.
We did that.
Okay, Mr. O'Connor is patiently waiting over there. Excuse me, Mr. O'Connor, did this gentleman come down to District Hall and get a permit for his electrical and his plumbing work and any other work that needed done on this house?
Through the mayor, Councillor Cassidy, everyone can hear me all right?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for having me. Apologies, I couldn't be there in person. Lionsgate was closed, as previously noted. So in terms of the permit issuance, our manager of permits and inspections had the kind of full portfolio in that regard. We received an application through VCH that a daycare permit was being applied for. and a permit was issued for that daycare renovation work. Throughout our time and interactions with Mr. Ali Kahi, our staff have observed challenges and obstructions, including threats and harassment with through communications. And so it was fairly difficult to collaborate alongside Mr. Ali Kahi, and was another reason why we issued tickets independent of any warnings or notice because of those prior interactions. My knowledge of the permit is that given the undue hardship of the fire, there was a little bit of an amendment made to the permit that had been issued for the daycare so that they could bring it back to a livable state. I attended myself along with several other departments, fire, police, permits and inspections, TechSafe BC, and Mr. Ali Kahi didn't permit us entry into the unit, into the parcel. Beyond that, I did know there were prior issues with the rear carport, which was a condition of the permit, that was to be remediated. The daycare permit, there were no inspections scheduled or asked for, which is standard course and the responsibility of the owner, builder, or constructor, that when they finish their electrical, they ask for an electrical inspection. Any deficiencies are noted, and then they're corrected, and then they get the approval and they can move forward with their construction project. No kind of correspondence of that nature or no inspections of that nature were scheduled by Mr. Ali Kahi. And when the time came from our department, receiving complaints from multiple complainants, not any one specific complainant, we did highlight and note that there were concerns of secondary suites, of short-term rentals, and eventually, dating back, I believe, to this spring, an inspection of the full property was conducted, which is the photos that you do see in the report, which is when the true nature of all the work that was done, independent of a permit, contrary to the approved plans, was kind of recognized, and thus determined that this would be the best option to move forward with this Section 57 notice.
Okay, so in essence, he has no permits and never did.
Not for the work that was done regarding the bachelor suites.
Okay, great. What caused the fire, please, sir? What caused the fire? Was it faulty electrical? What caused the fire?
It was on the oven. There was something on the oven, and our dog put something touch the.
Yes, I always said cooking was dangerous. But sir, there is another house down on 20th Street, 20th and Fulton, between Fulton and Esquimalt. And they were in a very similar situation to yourselves that you currently are in. And the vote was to demolish the house. So unfortunately, as much as I would like to recognize all of the efforts that you have put in, the district has standards, and those standards, if nothing else, revolve around the safety of somebody residing in the home. And if you'd only pulled the permits and had the work inspected, we wouldn't be here today. So as I said, I do feel for your situation, but unfortunately, we cannot make an exception for yourself, just like the gentleman with his boulders. We cannot make an exception. You failed to follow the regulations which are put in place simply to protect people who go into a home, that it's not going to be a fire hazard, but the electrical, the plumbing isn't going to fall apart. You cannot give anybody that assuredness. And now you've put the house on the market, and the district is now, if the house proved to be faulty, the district would be the one that is liable. And unfortunately, it's you that is liable. And I do find that very unfortunate. So, sorry.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy.
I need to tell something else. I'm going to ask him, who is the foremost in our electrician? Who is the imam?
No, sorry, sir.
Because you say we didn't get the permit on the electrician. As long as, in my understanding, as long as you have a permit, it means The electrician have to follow up this permit. Don't need to get a new permit, just on the electrician or plumbing or something else.
No, sir,
You know,
if you took
this
out
is-
a, if you took, sir, no, sir, you're not, sir, I'm not gonna allow that. If you took out a permit for a daycare and then you changed your mind for whatever reason and decided to put in suites instead of a daycare, you had to apply for an amended permit. You can't use the same permit for two different things. It won't work.
Was here for the restoration permit. Why nobody show up to take a look at our place?
No, that's not what
It
they do,
wasn't,
sir.
it wasn't difficult job.
Yeah, that,
Just walking 100 meters and take a look at our place. Where were your inspector that time? Why your previous inspector? We requested for deposit damage and they said, we need to take a look at your home. When she was in front of my home, no devices, I have a record, I have a video, I have a camera in front of my house. I can show you. If need something for the court, I will prepare all of things by my lawyer. You know, when your inspector in front of my house, there is no devices, there is no equipment, nothing. It doesn't make sense. This is your problem. You have to send a different inspector in a different segment and find the details, find the issues and give us a solution. This is a job for the city, not to just take a picture like a journalist. It doesn't make
sir,
sense.
we've heard your appeal, we've heard your comments, and we thank you for coming this evening. It's now up to council. And I'll ask Councillor Thompson if she wishes to make a motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make the recommendation that the corporate officer for the District of West Vancouver file a notice in the Land Titles Office that resolution relating to the land with civic address 1921 Fulton Avenue, West Vancouver, BC V7V 1T2, legally described as a PID 010 816 097, Lot 4 of Lot B, Block 4, District Lot 775, Plan 6733, has been made under Section 57 of the Community Charter, and that further information about it may be inspected at Municipal Hall.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Okay, any discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, motion is carried. Thanks very much. Okay, we'll go to item number 7, the Recycling Parks Program. Thank you, Councillor Lambert.
Is there a presentation?
Is there a?
We do have a short presentation.
Thank you. Ms. Lawler, how are we doing? Pascal.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
I'm here this evening to provide an update on our Parks Recycling Program. Phase 1 began in 2023, introducing 3-stream recycling for landfill, containers, and organics at Millennium, John Lawson, and Dunderave Parks. And our Phase 2 expanded in 2024 to White Cliff, Horseshoe Bay, offering 2-stream recycling for landfill and for containers. Our diversion of waste from the landfill supports Council's strategic plan and environmental goals. Despite continued public participation, the total volume of our recycled materials diverted from the landfill remains relatively low. In 2023, 4 tons were diverted, increasing slightly to 4.8 tons in 2024. By comparison, our landfill waste from parks totaled 255 tons in 2023 and 262 in 2024. It's worth noting that Horseshoe Bay Park was closed for the first half of 2023 and reopened in July of 2023 with container recycling, which may have contributed to the year-over-year change in waste tonnage. In July 2024, recycling in parks expanded to White Cliff and included container recycling only. Whereas in phase 1 also included organics, the relatively low recycling diversion is largely due to the lightweight nature of the collected materials, primarily bottles, cans, and cups, which require substantial volume to register even 1 ton compared to the heavier waste types, such as food scraps. However, these results show modest improvement in public realm recycling efforts within parks. Audits conducted between May 2022 and January 2025 reveal an average contamination rate of 36.9 in container recycling and 18.5 in organics. These figures are considerably higher than the widely accepted maximum threshold of 10% used by many commercial recycling and organics processors. While the container stream can tolerate higher contamination due to the mechanical sorting, the organics and food waste stream has a much lower tolerance because of the mechanical sorting is significantly more difficult. When collected material is heavily contaminated, it cannot be processed as recycling and instead is disposed of as garbage. This directly affects the program's effectiveness as materials intended for diversion end up in the landfill, undermining the goal of our waste reduction. Despite efforts to improve public sorting, such as updating our receptacle graphics to provide clearer visual guides and significant public education initiatives led by summer students in both 2023 and 2024, our follow-up audits have shown minimal improvement. To accommodate an expansion of recycling in Ambleside Park, it would require the addition of 28 new receptacles. 12 three-stream, which we can include containers, organics, and waste, and these would be placed near the concession as well as our picnic areas. 16 two-stream bins for containers and garbage near sports fields and walkways. To accommodate recycling in Ambleside Park, the disposal area would require an expansion to fit the required additional dumpsters for containers, recycling, and food waste. This would also improve our waste handling efficiency across nearby parks, which include Millennium and John Lawson Park. An additional electric utility vehicle would need to service the multiple streams effectively. Operating costs would include dumpster rentals, tipping fees, and staff time to facilitate the program. To date, the program has involved a cost of $187,500 in capital costs for phase 1 and 2 and $249,300 in annual operating costs, which also includes allocation for audits and public education. For the proposed phase 3 in Ambleside Park, an estimated capital cost of $202,000 with an additional $53,500 in annual operating costs. Breaking down the phase 3 costs, $202,000 capital investment includes $162,000 for new receptacles and the Ambleside disposal compound expansion, and $40,000 for an electrical utility vehicle. These capital costs are proposed to be funded from the Environmental Reserve Fund, aligning with its purpose to support climate action and environmental protection initiatives. The $53,500 in annual operating costs for staffing, bin service, and tipping fees are proposed to be covered by an increase to the solid waste utility public realm refuse fee, which would translate to an estimated $2.60 per household in 2026. There are both benefits and challenges to consider. On the benefit side, expanding the program addresses public expectations for more recycling opportunities and aligns with council's strategic objectives to continue to expand recycling in parks and to increase diversion rates. It also supports our environmental goals by aiming to divert materials from the landfill and aligns with the Environmental Reserve Fund. While current diversion is low, the potential for increased diversion remains high if contamination can be reduced. Furthermore, more frequent servicing has led to an overall improvement in park litter management, which we see in Horseshoe Bay Park. and this would have an immediate operational benefit. However, significant challenges still persist. We have contamination rates that are high and diversion rates that are low with minimal improvement despite educational efforts. This results in a high expense per ton diverted. There's also a risk to the district's credibility and commitment to waste reduction if the program is perceived as unsuccessful at effective diversion due to the materials ending up in landfill. Achieving long-term success will require sustained investment, communication, education, and shifting public behavior will take time. Which takes us to our two options this evening. Option 1 proposes the initiation of phase 3 expansion into Ambleside Park in 2026, pending the completion of the required infrastructure. This option includes funding estimated at $53,500 in annual operating costs through an increase to the public realm refuse fee, capital costs of $162,000 for receptacles and disposal compound expansion, along with $40,000 for an electrical utility vehicle to be funded from the Environmental Reserve Fund. Staff would report back to council within 12 months on the results of the waste diversion. Option 2 proposes deferring phase 3 expansion to Ambleside Park. Under this option, staff would focus on investigating and implementing additional strategies to improve diversion and reduce contamination rates within the existing parks recycling program. And a report outlining the outcomes would be presented to council after 12 months prior to any further consideration of expansion.
Thanks very much. Rather disappointing that people aren't more considerate of how they dispose of things. So simple to just put the right thing in the right container.
Actually, it's
honestly, it is.
I always have to stop and think.
All right, a moment of thought. Councillor Thompson.
You know, it's interesting because it is a shame. We mark clearly, and it's just confusing. And I wonder if we can find an example somewhere in the world where it is successfully separated. It seems silly to go ahead and expand the program that isn't effective. And I just, for me, I'm wondering if there was clear bins somehow where you saw pop bottles and coffee cups or whatever. And then if you don't know, just one big bin, but there's gotta be a solution. I don't know, have you guys used, the second part of the motion is about exploring new ways. Have you got any leads? And I will say the one photograph that I thought was effective, when we look at all the kids recycling videos every year, I've never seen one that actually shows what cross-contamination is. And it really makes you think about, oh yeah, if I put my can in with all that food. So any progress with that?
Through the mayor to Councillor Thompson. The good folks in engineering who are always looking at new ways to find and gain compliance through the community, last year did a whole new deckling program to help try and bring awareness. I think we're constantly looking for new ways. What we find is that people are pretty good at recycling at home. They're not bad doing the streetscape, but when it comes to parks, it's a bit of a challenge. And some of that could be from having big picnics and grabbing the whole tablecloth and tossing it all in once. I think parks are used in a different way slightly, so we still haven't figured out the magic of making the labels successful within the park setting. But we will continue to explore those options, and again, working with a fabulous team in engineering to do so.
No doubt.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
So if one proceeds with the second part of the motion as motion A, motion B, when you go into Ambleside Park, there's actually a shortage of recycling bins. I had mentioned this earlier to staff, particularly as you go around the duck pond and you keep on going. Now, I realize beyond the duck pond, we're in Squamish land, but I said, basically from the bathrooms forward, there is no place to put your garbage, your recycling. And I mean, I just wonder if some semblance of, more bins, I think, are definitely needed, but also some signage, sort of Mother Earth thanks you. Do you want to save the planet? Don't save your garbage in this can, sort it. The ones they've got in Vancouver, garbage cans don't sort. People do. something like that? Or do you actually think it's the difference between those who populate our parks and those who populate our homes as to the educational level of the desire to want to recycle?
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, I think sometimes people aren't sure what to do, especially, you know, you've got a big coffee cup and it's filled with coffee and you throw it into the recycling because that's where you put the coffee cup, but it's filled with coffee. And now that has contaminated our waste. So there is a lot of education that still needs to happen in the public realm setting to help people. And again, we are happy to look at some new campaigns and continue to try new efforts to see what's going to gain traction specifically here in West Vancouver and make us successful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
Yeah, a couple questions. So the first motion proposes an increase to the public realm refuse fee. Why wouldn't we consider, if we're putting in pay parking in Ambleside, why wouldn't we consider using the pay parking funds to pay for that? Or could we consider that?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, we would be happy to explore that as an option, certainly.
So that would be one concern. And what about just another idea? We have many events in the summer, and we often have had I think they're volunteers, I'm not even sure, who literally stand beside the recycling bins. They have like green team t-shirts on. You know, I'm wondering if that's just an idea for very heavy traffic times on the weekends. I don't know if there's some people who need volunteer hours or whatnot, but you know, you literally have to, I guess, educate people slowly. It's going to happen. And you know, I really think that, first of all, the data that you showed, the photo of the garbage autopsy there was from what year?
That would have been, I think, our spring audit, if I'm correct. I'm looking for
this year?
confirmation.
This year?
2023.
2023. Okay, so that's already 2 years out of date, and the data was 2 years out of date. So I'm just thinking, so if we don't pass the first motion and we pass the second motion, then we would be looking, you know, to kind of create ways to improve it. Then we're looking at not implementing in Ambleside Park until 2027. That means there's no recycling in Ambleside Park until at least 2 years from now, maybe more. Like, I really think the public expects a little better, especially if we're getting pay parking in Ambleside.
But we
And-
could, Councillor Gambioli, shorten that. We don't need 12 months to, if we,
Well, that's what the motion says.
no, but we could ask for a shorter time. period.
So anyways, I don't know. And then I look at the first motion and I see number 4, capital costs of 162,000 for receptacles. Even if we don't use the receptacles right away, is it better to buy them now than it is 2 years from now when they're going to be even more expensive? You know, I don't know. I really think that the public expectation is that we get moving on this and we figure out a way to make it work, whether it's education that we do. The one that was just mentioned is Metro, is a Metro Vancouver education program. So yeah, I don't know. I think we have to go for it. We have to buy the stuff now, get it in place, and really make an effort to educate people to do the right thing.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder, please.
Yeah, so I do agree with Councillor Gambioli on a few of the points. I think that, you know, there's an expectation in the public that, you know, we need to do our part in the recycling. And I think you're right that, you know, we do a very great job at home. I mean, we do. I mean, we're huge recyclers at our house. In fact, I have to go down and buy more bins and bags because they're all so full. We do so much recycling. But I think it's important that people understand that once a bin is contaminated to a certain degree, it can no longer be recycled at all, and that goes into our landfills. And so my big concern here is spending. You know, we're talking probably close to $250,000 to set the program up on top of then the operating and the ongoing expenses of it. And I'm challenged with spending that type of money with little results as far as, the cross contamination goes. So as much as I would like to see it go into tomorrow and have it be successful, again, I think that we have a responsibility to make sure we're spending the money when we know that the program is going to be effective. So, my inclination is with the second option. And like Mayor Sager says, I would also like to see something maybe within the next 6 months, report back to council, because this summer is pretty much done in any event. And I don't see bins and stuff going in and being too effective for the rest of this summer by the time we would get there. So, but I would really like to see something in by next summer at the very latest. So I don't know if that's enough time, if we're 6 months from now, whether or not that leaves enough time to implement something before next summer.
Thank you, Ms. Lawley.
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder, in order for us to be able to purchase the bins, we would need to do that for this year's budget cycle, or we could look at phase 2 capital in 2026 as well. But that would happen typically after the summer season. So if we're looking to implement for the summer, we would likely need to make that decision before September.
Councillor Cassidy, please.
May I ask, who analyzes this garbage? No, I'm asking that because obviously the greatest amount of our garbage is going to be coming during the summer months, and things will ebb off after the Labor Day weekend. So this is a local entity that does this analysis. Could we not basically say, excuse me, can we have this information by the end of September? And then we come back at the beginning, for example, of October. So we do make ourselves into the budget season, because we do need more recycling bins in Ambleside Park. And of course, there's a great volume of individuals who use Ambleside Park. So who does this counting?
So there, through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, we do have a contractor that does this work. We do have an audit that was scheduled for the high season of this year, 2025, and we should have those results before the fall and would be able to provide some.
All right, when we get those, I mean, we're not exactly asking for 100% accuracy, within X and Y, and then later on, yes, come with 100%. But we just want to know to what percentage we're up or what percentage we're down, so we can act on those numbers. Because I have seen how unbelievably busy Ambleside is, and it's becoming busier with each year. So our problem is just getting bigger, and we need more garbage cans. So.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
Thanks. I just wanted to reinforce, I don't think that we can speed up more than 12 months, because if we do make the changes that we need to do to make the difference in behavior, this summer's already over, and we need at least the spring period where people are flocking to the parks in the weekends. But I really would like to see some improvement in our waste collection before we start investing this, and whether it's slogans or receptacles or volunteers helping it along. I do think we need to see that improvement. And I do think Metro does a really good job on their sloganing, even the signage they put through the parks with dog leashes and things like that. They just have a really clever way. So if we look to our fellow neighbors and partners, hopefully we can find some solutions there.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. I would like to just correct you on one statement. You said summer's over, and I thought summer was just beginning for us. Right. Oh, please. I'm going to turn this over to Councillor Cassidy.
If we don't have these garbage cans, even if people want to improve their behavior, past the toilets to Ambleside, you're carrying your garbage the whole way around that park. I don't think beyond the whatever that, there's a garbage can just as you turn into that bike path, but I don't know many people are going to be carrying it that far. So I do think we need the recycling cans as opposed to just regular cans in that park.
Are you saying from boat shed to the dog park, there's no garbage bins?
I believe there's one garbage bin, but once you go around there, I don't believe there's any.
There's few. There's quite a few there.
But they're not recycling garbage cans. You put your bottles here, your this there, and your that. It's simply garbage cans.
That-
That's what this discussion is
Yeah.
about.
Well, that's what I mean. We need the recycling bins in Ambleside, but particularly in that area because we have a dearth of cans. Anyway, let's not get into an argument about cans, but there we are.
All right, Councillor Snyder, you.
Well, I just thought that's why we're here, is because whether or not we introduce the recycling to Ambleside. That's what
Right,
this whole motion is.
right. Yes.
So I think we all accept that there is no recycling cans right now in Ambleside. Right, yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Lambert, who's going to make a motion, I think.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mayor Sager. And thank you for the report and the options. They were clearly spelled out and we all know the issues. And I think there's a general mood that we would like to do recycling in Ambleside. But again, as you pointed out quite clearly, the diversion rates and are low, the contamination rates are high and substantially high, and it does challenge the wisdom of making the investment in the recycling at this time. So I'm going to move the second option, that the June 24th, 2025 report from the Parks Maintenance Manager titled Recycling and Parks Program Update be received for information. And 2, that staff defer phase 3 Ambleside Park of the Recycling and Parks Program expansion pending diversion and contamination rate improvements in existing public realm recycling in parks. 3, staff be directed to continue to investigate and employ options to improve diversion and contamination rates. And 4, staff report to council in, and I'll just make a friendly amendment of 6 months on the results of diverting waste from the landfill, and based on those results, consider expansion.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, would you consider seconding that?
I will consider it on the monetary aspect of it, but
I think all of us are of the same mind. We're
Right.
really disappointed that we can't implement this more aggressively and successfully. I certainly feel that way. But I accept the recommendation. So it is moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion, Councillor Gambioli?
Well, I don't agree. And I think that from a, monetary perspective, it's already been shown that we can use pay parking revenue for the implementation. We already have the money in our environment fund to pay for receptacles and the vehicle if necessary. And I think that, this is a missed opportunity. If we don't do it now, we're talking about at least 2 years in the future. The audit information and the numbers are from 2 years ago already. So I really think we should move on this, and I don't think we should be shy about it. I think the expectations in the community are clear, and I think we should move ahead.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Respect your opinion. Thank you, Councillor Cassidy.
I have never done this before, but I'm going to backtrack on seconding it. I do apologize, but
We're
I'm
going to
sure
allow
there's
that.
somebody else here who's happy to second it. I'm of 2 minds on the subject, but no, I would like to see us proceed.
All right. Would anyone else like to second the motion? All right, the motion fails, Councillor Lambert, and that means that I think council's going to take the plunge.
Okay, so I will.
It's fine.
make
This is
the
what a good
motion
discussion
as
is
written.
for.
As written, but I would, with the caveat that I would like to ask staff to take a look at number 3 and use pay parking revenue from Ambleside to pay for the 53,000 estimated operating costs, if possible, rather than increase
I can
taxes.
take
for
that as a
public
friend.
realm. Yeah.
But I need a seconder, and that's seconded by Councillor Cassidy. Okay, we've had a very
Sorry,
good
Councillor
discussion.
Gambioli, can you just clarify that amendment that you were just proposing? I didn't quite catch that.
If there are funds available from the Ambleside pay parking, should that proceed, that the funds could be diverted from that revenue source.
Number 3, part 3 of the motion says that staff incorporate any increase to the public realm.
Yes, rather than adding it to the solid waste charge, we pay for it through pay parking. I think that's a wise decision as well.
So just for clarity, that's just for number 3, just for the operating costs.
Right,
Correct.
Okay.
because Isabel told me.
I'm just reading this quickly again. I don't see something that says staff will continue to pursue ways to improve collectible retention.
Actually, I think that would be a good addition. I did like the suggestion of finding volunteers and people to help. So Councillor Gambioli,
So
could you add
that's,
that? to
yeah,
the
that's
motion?
number 3 from the second motion. We could add that.
Yes.
As number
Yes.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. That makes good,
Does that
very
make
good
sense
sense.
too?
I'm still on 3. I just want to be super clear about
Okay.
what we're doing.
you're
So
on-
for 3, we're striking an increase to the public realm refuse fee in the solid waste utility in 2026 and replacing it with pay parking revenue.
Yes.
Okay, and then can you repeat 7?
And then in the second set of motions that's on the list, the third one says staff be directed to continue to investigate and employ options to improve diversion and contamination rates. So that would go as number 7.
Thank you.
I think that makes sense. Councillor Lambert?
And while we're piling on, let's add sort of another one, that staff report to council in 12 months following the implementation of this, so we can see what the results.
I think Councillor,
That's number 6.
that is here, Councillor Lambert.
That's included.
That is,
Okay.
yes, it is.
Okay.
That is the expectation. So we will, this vote is clearly going to pass, and we will emphasize and request the citizens of our community to be more thoughtful and take just that extra second before they put something in a bin. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Contrary, the motion carries unanimously. And help them out. Okay, item number 8, another challenging situation, 1145 Chartwell Crescent, remedial action. Is the owner or any member of the public here this evening that is going to address council on this matter? I'm really quite surprised. This is a significant issue.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bailey, any idea why this person would not be present?
Mr. Mayor, I have no idea. I'm happy to give a brief update to council, answer any questions. So this is related to 1145 Chartwell Crescent. As per the staff report, there's an unpermitted building constructed at 1145 Chartwell. No building permits issued, none whatsoever. It is in a creek area. It is also part of in the wildfire development permit area. No permits are issued for that. So you have an unpermitted building, and given that it's fully complete, our inspector is aware of it, has gone out and looked at it and said it's not possible to retroactively issue permits without taking on unacceptable sort of latent safety risks. Because, as you do an inspection, you do a frame inspection, you do all these different inspections along the way, electrical inspections. Those are sequential. They again built it with 0 permits, 0 inspections, and it's unacceptable safety risk. The required inspections at various stages did not occur. In addition to that, the project doesn't comply with our development permit guidelines. It's within 5 meters atop a bank, and it's near a really steep slope adjacent to Brothers Creek. It does not avoid net loss of riparian habitat. So therefore, based on all of those things, particularly the building inspector issues, we're recommending that council impose a remedial action requirement on the owner to demolish or remove the building without permits because it's unsafe and contravenes the building bylaw. And we're also recommending in the intervening period that the corporate officer file a section 57, again, just in case the property transfers. And so folks are aware that that's happening and there's a significant contravention on the site.
Yeah, I've seen things before. This one's really quite something, because this looks like quite a structure that somebody's built. And I must admit, I sincerely hope they can find a way to remove this building without demolishing this and adding it to landfill, which just even aggravates the whole thing further. I'm sure there's somewhere in the province they could put it that wouldn't break every rule in the book. Councillor Thompson.
That was exactly my comment. It would be a real shame to see this demolished. And can we direct them to repurpose it? Or is it completely up to them?
But I mean, through the mayor, they're required to demolish it. They have retained a consultant, Rowe Environmental, and they've completed a remediation plan that contemplates removal. I'm not aware of the specifics of how exactly it would be removed, given the slope and those sorts of things. But, if they were to provide an option to save or repurpose, or, certainly divert some of the materials from the landfill, we'd certainly be open to that moving forward. And we would entertain that as we looked at the demolition of the building.
I really hope there can be a way that gets achieved. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So just a general question, because when this appears in the North Shore News, people are going to read it and go, what? So just can staff just say, okay, how can this happen? How can this happen in this day and age? An entire house can get built and nobody knows that there have been no permits issued and the whole house, it's happened before. I've been familiar with that. So can we just summarize, how can this happen?
But it
Sure.
isn't the whole house.
It's not the house.
They built it in front of a house, so
Okay.
it was hidden by the house.
Okay.
So that I think is what happened in this situation. Is you have a house or a property that's largely forested. It's an accessory building. It's not the main house. It's down near the river. Nobody saw it. Finally, somebody complained. As soon as we hear the complaint, we investigate, like, problem. And, further investigation revealed these significant contraventions. And of course, we move forward when we're aware of it.
Thank you. Could I ask Councillor Cassidy to make a motion, please?
Sorry, just one more question, Mr. Bailey. What sizes, I did drive up to the property and it's an extremely large house at the front. What size is the one that we're talking about?
I don't know the exact size because we don't have building permit drawings. Like I can't
Ballpark?
tell you exactly, but
It looks like it's about 1,500 square feet,
yeah,
would be
it's
my
about
guess.
All right,
but
okay.
I was going to guess about 1,000. to
Okay,
1,500
all
square
right.
feet.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Councillor Cassidy, I accept the motion as written. This is a very long motion.
Forward to reading it all. All right. Accept the motion as written.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gambioli, seconded. Any discussion? I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Thanks very much. And we'll move to.
Sorry, Mayor Sager, there was a second motion.
Oh, okay. Yes, there is.
And
Councillor Cassidy.
that one is a short one.
There you go.
So there you go, my hour of fame. That council direct the corporate officer to file notice in the land title office and that a resolution has been made relating to the land legally described as PID 009-020-713, Lot 4, Block 46, Caplano Estates Extension, number 7, Plan 11873, has been made under Section 57 of the Community Charter, and that further information about it may be inspected at the District Hall.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gambioli. Seconded. Call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. The new proposed purchasing policy, which is really just an update, Councillor Thompson.
So no presentation or anything, just
No,
the
not on
report?
this.
Okay. I'm just, would it be too much to ask staff to sort of pull out a couple highlights of things that have changed between the old and new, or is that too?
I don't think we have the
No.
staff here tonight. To
That's
answer that.
okay. We'll talk later.
Mayor Sager, I can just quickly comment.
Thank
you.
On behalf of Isabel, that the
Ms.
proposed policy is simply just a transfer from our old template to the new template with a few administrative changes. The policy scope and responsibilities and all of the meat of the policy remains unchanged.
Thank you. Okay, so then I will propose that the purchasing policy 0230359 be rescinded and the proposed purchasing policy 0052 be approved.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder, please. Thank you. Any discussion? I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. The next proposed acquisition of land on Hollyburn Ridge. This is an important one. Councillor Snyder.
To recommend that the acquisition of, or that number one, acquisition of land on Hollyburn Ridge, policy 0280182 be rescinded, and 2, the proposed acquisition of land on Hollyburn Ridge, policy 0032 be approved.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Councillor Gambioli? Thank you. I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. Proposed bylaw, notice enforcement bylaw on municipal ticket information. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Proposed bylaw notice enforcement bylaw number 4368, 2004, amendment bylaw number 5401, 2025 be given first, second, and third readings.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion? Question, all in favor? Contrary carried.
It is recommended that proposed municipal ticket information system implementation bylaw number 4383, 2004, amendment bylaw number 5402, 2025 be given first, second, and third readings.
Thank you. Any discussion? Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. Item number 12, Collingwood School Private Special Event Noise Exemption. This is for the start of school, September 5th from 5 to 7 p.m. Councillor
Mayor
Thompson.
Sager, I apologize for the interruption. We have two members of the public that have signed up to speak to this item.
Thanks very much. Who is the first that would like to speak?
We've got two names, Mark Selman and Greg Morrow.
Thank you. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Well, I am coming away from, I will be coming away from this meeting with a new respect for the job of councillor. I'm quite amazed by this meeting.
These good people have actually been sitting in council since 2 o'clock this afternoon.
It's very impressive. I'm a member of a task force created with councillors Watt and Cassidy and Mayor Sager and Collingwood School representatives and neighborhood representatives from the Glenmore area. And we've been trying to thrash through issues related to how how Collingwood can lessen its impact on the residential neighborhood that it exists in. And as of quite recently, the school has made new moves to address some of the issues. And in particular, they have hired a consultant to look at the issue of sound generated on the field, on their playing field, and its impact on the immediate neighbors. Because they've made that effort, we are not going to complain about this application for an exemption for the noise bylaw. It was the last one that came up was a matter for some discussion in council. But we believe that the school is trying to address the issue now, and we've met with the consultant and have confidence in their plan going forward. So, so we're okay with this one. The school says that there are 3 special events each year that it conducts that require permits. We believe that there are actually quite a few more events that take place during the year. They may not be school events, but they take place on their field and they're responsible for them. They have more than 80 people on the field at a time, and they make a lot of noise right into the evening. And that it's important that council make sure that the school applies for this kind of exemption whenever they have such an event. And it would be very courteous of the school if they notified people in the neighborhood. And as it is that with the existing bylaw policy, only a very small area immediately around the playing field side of the school are notified about any of these events, but the events have an impact on everybody, whether they're in the immediate range of the sound or not. So I've got these 2 issues that I want to raise. One is that the school is not applying for permits, for exemptions from the bylaws when it's not their activities, but someone using their field who is rented from them. And the other one is that I think when there are large events that are going to affect the neighborhood, people in the neighborhood should be warned in advance that they're going to be taking place.
That's time, sir.
Thanks very much. And we do appreciate the comments and support of the school's efforts to address the neighbors' concerns. I was particularly impressed in this application with the concept that they're going to shuttle people from St. David's Church up and help reduce the traffic I thought that was a very thoughtful idea.
Right, well, we've been pushing for them to do that sort of thing for a while now.
Seems you're
So-
succeeding.
And I think collectively we're succeeding in getting them to see some of the things that they do that have affected their neighbors. And they seem to be trying to be a better neighbor than they have been. And Councillor Cassidy actually has a lot to do with that. In the most recent task force meeting, she was fairly direct in
Wasn't she?
raising the issues. So thanks for your
Let's
time.
not leave, I will just leave that one for right now. And, you know, things might get so good in the neighborhood, they'll invite you to their events as well. you know.
We're invited.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Second speaker is Greg Morrow.
Mr. Morrow, nice to see you. Thanks for
Nice to
joining us.
see you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. What I wanted to do was kind of follow up exactly with what Mark had said. Sorry about my voice. I have a little bit of a cold, I think. For example, on June 12th this year, Valley had a year-end special event. They had over 100 people use the Morven Field. It went on past 7 o'clock at night, and it was extremely loud. Also, there were illegally parked cars on Morven. I called bylaws about that, about to complain about the cars and the noise, but unfortunately, they weren't able to respond. The reason they had so many people on the field is at the end of the year, they had a celebration, end of the year. They had invited all of the teams that had played all year long on that field in their new soccer league. And most of these teams, I think I mentioned this before, don't have any residency in West Van or North Van. They're from all over the place, like Squamish, Bowen Island, New Westminster, Burnaby, stuff like that. But that was basically one of the questions that I was bringing that up to find out if there was a special event like Valley on Morven Field, would they be required to apply for a noise exemption permit, or is Collingwood School required to get a permit for events like that? Because like I said, there's over 100 people on that field, cars parked everywhere. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to state was I also would like respectfully to ask any counselor that has a conflict of interest when it involves Collingwood School to recuse themselves from voting on Collingwood School issues.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Okay, I'll ask Councillor Thompson for a motion, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I just want to say how much I appreciate the residents showing up to continue this dialogue and to show your support where it's reasonable, and to make more requests. I hope you continue your relationship with your school, because it's, you know, it's every day of your life, right?
Every day, for
So
sure.
you want to have a good relationship. I know they sent us a list of quite a few things that they've been doing to try and improve the situation. And I will say, you know, your request for the 3 special events, I think that's reasonable. We'll certainly follow up with dialogue on the people that aren't the school themselves. I think what we're trying to measure against reasonability, you know, we get some complaints about the activity on the new track at West Van High. So, you know, there's a certain amount of expectation of activity that's going to happen on school with fields, and we've got to really understand what that is. Anyway, I think we just keep continuing the dialogue and work with what's reasonable, and keep talking with each other. So thank you.
I want to thank council and the mayor for all the help they provided us, because we weren't getting very far with just Collingwood School by themselves. This has helped a lot, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I know the 2 counselors and the mayor were really involved and active, so I was happy to see that too. So with that, I'm going to put forward the notion. Oh,
Ms. Hope, or sorry, Ms. Dallas. I thought I was never gonna do that. I said to myself, I was never gonna do that, but. So I'm gonna declare myself in conflict, not that I'm not certain whether or not I am or not, but I'm gonna excuse myself and just declare that I could potentially be in conflict, as my wife is a substitute teacher at the junior school at Collingwood. So she's not an employee of theirs, but she's a teacher on call. So I'm going to excuse myself.
Fair enough.
Is that is that not something we could confirm legislatively?
You know what, just
No?
to speed the process up
Okay.
and just, it doesn't hurt. It's up to the individual and if he, it
Okay,
is.
I think,
Okay, I'll ask Councillor Thompson,
Yeah.
would you make a motion? Oh,
Okay.
sorry, Councillor Cassidy.
To this, but I
Yes,
just will
please.
make the motion first.
okay.
Yep.
So I'll recommend that council approve the application from Collingwood School located at 70 Morven Drive, West Vancouver, BC V7S 1B2 for private special event noise exemption for a welcome back event on September 5th, 2025 from 5 to 7 PM.
Thank you, thank you. Councillor Cassidy.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank both of the gentlemen from the task force for coming to speak this evening. Thank you. And thank you for all your work on this situation. When we had a development permit, I think it was last year, development application, and I visited the homes that immediately abut this school. And I think I was there about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. The noise from that playing field was so loud. It was a summer's evening that you could barely think. And I just imagine the collective damage constantly having to listen to that drone in your ear that is doing to this neighborhood. This is a school that started out small and grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it was earlier this month, we met, Mayor Sager and myself met with the staff at the school and we laid out the facts very, very clearly, very strongly. And I am glad that they have made some efforts to become accommodative. I'm very pleased with that, particularly with the buses and asking for these yourselves to come and listen to this noise barrier being the action of having it put up. And I would just like to stand on notice to them that because we've made a few steps, we're not walking away. And that this council will support you in your efforts because you are residents of this community. You pay your taxes in this community, and it's our job to ensure that your rights to live in this community are respected. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks very much. Over to bylaws. Could someone get Councillor Snyder back? And I will ask Councillor Lambert if you could make the motion, please. He's not here, though.
Fees and charges bylaw number 5334, 2024, amendment bylaw number 5397, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Snyder. Second. There you go. Call a question. Any discussion? Call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Is there any no new business? The consent agenda, Councillor Thompson, please.
Recommend that the consent agenda be approved as written.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Any discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. Any reports from myself or council? I just very quickly report that, as I mentioned to council previously, I've been asked by the chair of Metro Vancouver to serve on the newly established governance committee of Metro, where we're examining the entire composure of Metro, and it's quite a long undertaking, but we had our first meeting last week and I was very pleased with the approach. I think there's good prospect. So over to you, Councillor Cassidy.
Thank you. So I am the council liaison to the North Shore Standing Committee on Substance Use. And the committee has come forward with a North Shore-wide awareness initiative to raise awareness about the overdose crises, promote reduction and safe supply, and help reduce the stigma surrounding substance use. And to do this, what they're going to be doing is they're going to have purple chairs will be displayed in public places, such as parks and community spaces, community centers, as powerful visual tributes. Each chair will represent a North Shore community member lost to overdose, serving as a conversation starter and a reminder of the lives impacted by this crisis. So I just want to say that most people think that the drug crises that we're having exists in the downtown east side. Last year, 31 members of the North Shore community died of a drug overdose, 5 of whom died in West Vancouver, Lions Bay, and Bowen Island. And these people died in their homes. So this is a situation that we all have to recognize, and we all have to reduce the stigma and work towards a successful assistance for these individuals in overcoming their addiction, and also to let individuals know that naloxone is available in Shoppers Drug Mart at 16th and Marine, and also in the Rexall drugstore on 16th across from the dry cleaner, for those individuals who live in West Vancouver or those individuals who might be visiting other sites to pick up the antidote to the overdose. So thank you to that.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Thank you for your service on that committee. Could I have a motion to receive our reports, please? Councillor Snyder, seconded by Councillor Lambert. Call the question. All in favor? Contrary, carried. Well, that's it. I was going to say this is the last meeting before our next meeting, September 8th, but actually we have an online meeting to pass one bylaw on Wednesday at 9 a.m. It will be a virtual meeting. But otherwise, for the members of the public, we will see you September 8th.
Mayor Sager, I apologize for the interruption.
sorry.
I did have a number of names signed up to speak to this, but I believe they wanted to speak to the median, which you addressed at the beginning of the meeting. And I think most people left.
Is there anyone here this evening wishing to address council? Yes, sorry. Okay.
I don't. Yeah, and I don't think you were here in the beginning when the mayor made the comments about the median, but come up and speak.
Did you hear the comments?
I did.
Okay, well, we welcome you to come and speak, of course. You've been very patient to wait till.
May I say, I never thought I would be riveted about the conversation about recycling, but I was. Because as West Van resident for 30 years, it takes a long time for us to get through our thick skulls to recycle properly. And I hope, are my minutes started? Oh my God.
That's all right.
Well, I just wanted to say that, you know, I freeze all my compost now, so my bears can't get at it. And I'm completely, you know, after my kids for any small infraction. And so it takes a long time for the process to be completely absorbed by people. And I know many other communities do not do what West Van does. And I think a lot of other people come from different places, and then they come here and they blow us out of the water with the way they do things at the parks. But I think generally a lot of West Vanners now, because of you, have really changed their ways dramatically. And so Councillor Gambioli, I'm sorry, I thought I was going to pronounce that wrong, and Cassidy, thank you very much for supporting that, because I was having heart failure going, oh my gosh, for that, we can't, anyway, I've taken enough of your time,
Okay.
but we can't say no, we
Well,
gotta
you
keep
support the
going.
resolution passed
I
by
support it wholeheartedly.
unanimously passed by council. There you go.
Thank you. And so sorry to take up all my minutes. So this is regarding the median. And I know that this might not seem like a big deal, but for me,
Actually, for us, it is a big deal.
okay, well, I look at Little Dunderave. I moved to West Van from Vancouver, from Shaughnessy to Dunderave because of Dunderave. It is magical. It's like a little squeeze of England or something, and you don't see that anywhere. And when those Christmas lights come up, every Christmas, or even just sort of when it starts to get dark, I drive home specifically, not on the upper levels, that way, because I go, aren't I lucky to live in this environment? When I saw that median just ripped out, I was gobsmacked. I mean, we have more announcements and whatever about hoedowns than we have about the median being removed. And it was, and most of my friends feel exactly the same way. Even my friends whose husbands are developers feel this way. So I know that they are not here because that might be inappropriate. But I wanted to say that I spoke to a gentleman at Pierwell who informed me that it was all on their website at Pierwell. He was a real estate agent with Rennie. And I said, oh, okay, so no signs, no notices, no anything. It just gets ripped out like this. And he goes, well, we're putting it back after the development's built. I went, what, 3-4 years? Are you kidding me? And I said, well, what about these trees? Oh, well, they'll all be gone. They're going to be in the way. I go, okay, well, wait a minute here. West Van protects thousands of trees, like just little trees, little things that are right by, you know, all the little circumferences and all that sort of stuff all around our houses. And council, West Van, protects them within an inch of their lives. There are 6 really quite magnificent trees that are there that just seem to be on the slaughter block. And I'm going, why? No even small effort to put like fencing around them. It's absolutely insanity. And then I thought, okay, well, this kind Rennie realtor that told me, you know, so, you know, what's your problem? Are you having a bad day? I go, no, I wasn't having a bad day, but I am now because a little arrogant.
That's time, ma'am.
I'll let you finish if you can be fairly quick.
Okay, I will be quick, but okay, so the median was on their website. What wasn't on their website was the percentage of anything sold. So to me, most developers boast that. It's probably abysmal. So that would be the first thing. And of course, the view. The first thing I saw a long time ago with the view outside there was the wrong view. It had an island in it. And we all know exactly what that looks like all the time. So for their $1 million views, they had the wrong view, kind of says it all. There are no floor plans. There are no floor plates. Doesn't show anything about how it's all going to be built out. And I am terrified. I mean, the outside of it looks nice. I'm not against Pierwell per se. The outside of it looks nice, but where is the money coming from? If that place goes belly up, have you got a huge bond that we can do something so we don't have a huge hole in the ground, so the median is replaced, and God forbid those huge trees come out? There's 6 of them, and those are generational. Those won't be rebuilt in any of our lifetime with those trees. Plus, with 3 stories, those trees are not going to grow back like that because they are in a full shade environment. They will not get a stroke of light on them like they do now because there's only 1 story. So, you know, those are not going to look like that. I'm sorry, I wasted my time on the other stuff, but I must admit, in May, I didn't recognize it. It might have been May, early June. I didn't recognize it for what it was, but behind on the little laneway, there was a megaphone presentation to about 12 or 14 gentlemen that were listening. And it was all in Chinese. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then that was about 11 o'clock in the morning. It was before lunch. And then they all toddled off to Red Lion, which is sort of the heart and center of
I'm going to have to ask you to wind up. I'm sorry. I'm going to get in trouble with my colleagues here.
Okay, I am begging you to protect those 6 trees. I am begging you to put the median back. They said it was going to be for, the sewer lines and all that sort of stuff. The sewer lines and all that sort of stuff can be done immediately. It's not going to take 4 years.
As I said at the outset of the meeting, all of the members of council here are equally concerned, and we are taking every step we can.
Okay,
So-
and about the trees
We'll have to discuss that.
and a bond to protect West Van,
The municipality has a bond.
a big fat bond, because, you know,
There
things
is-
are going belly up everywhere.
Yes,
You know, the curve just went belly up, and that's $2,200 a square foot there. This one is over 1,700
Yeah, the
per square
municipality.
foot,
Okay,
in
I'm
Little
sorry.
West Van. Okay, I'm sorry, I wasted
No,
all
no, it's
my
okay.
time about recycling, which I'm sad about, because
No, you're happy about that.
No, but I'm passionate about that, and I know a lot of people are, but you know, they didn't want to wait 3 hours to.
Well, I
If
would,
they're-
again, I would just like you to know that the council is very concerned.
And the
And
trees.
frankly, no one is more concerned than me because,
And I know about your father, and I know
Thank you.
that he did a great thing, and
So-
everybody thanks your father for having done that. But the trees, those 6 trees. we're
thank
not
you.
gonna
Well,
let
We,
those
we
die.
do have to respect there are other people waiting to speak, so thank you.
Mayor
Sorry,
Saker,
I wasn't using my time.
sorry to interrupt me. We have your name for the record.
Francis Lucky.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you speaking about?
It's all right. Please come forward if you'd like to address council.
Mayor and Council, on behalf of the Ambleside and Dunderbay Residents Association, Heather Mersey and Sandra Lytle. And initially what brought us here this evening was the issue of the median. And I know our previous speaker covered a lot of the issues, and it was a concern to us as well. And as you know, our members are always encouraged to support local businesses, and we know that we need them and they need us. And so the feedback we were getting about this loss of the median, et cetera, and the timeline 2028. So when you spoke tonight, Mayor Sager, about no left-hand turn lane and that you're going to deal with the situation was a great relief to, I'm sure, many in the community. And we will make sure our members are aware of the decisions that have been made tonight. It's been really good to hear that. And I think the concerns expressed by the previous speaker about the trees and also the bond is highly important. And as well, we wanted to say at this time, it's coming up to your summer break, and we wanted to, on behalf of ADRA, to thank you all for the many hours you put in for your public service and to the benefit of our community. And to wish you all a very great summer ahead and a well-deserved break. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lytle, did you want to add?
Well, no, I have nothing new to add, but don't worry, I'll be back in September.
We'll see you all in September. Could I ask for a motion to adjourn?
July 21st, 2025, regular council meeting be adjourned.
Thank you. Question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks, everyone.